You or somebody slugged me.
That's right.
Well, will you stop grinning like that and tell me what this is all about?
Of course. I brought you here because I need your help in an experiment. An experiment whose details I've already worked out with mice and rabbits and cats and other animals.
What kind of an experiment?
An experiment in fear.
Fear?
Yes. You fought in the war. You were wounded. That means you've probably known fear. And still, you won the Bronze Star, which means you overcame it. Now, the question is, can you overcome your present fears?
What are you talking about?
You're afraid. Nothing has happened to you yet, absolutely nothing, and yet you are afraid, aren't you? You're afraid because you're face to face with the unknown. Because you don't know what I want and what I'm planning to do. Which is as it should be. And that's the way we'll leave it. For the moment.
Hey, wait a minute. Come back here. Come back. You can't... Hello, police. This is Joe Watson again. Listen, I got a little more dope. I don't know if it'll help, but there was a guy in here just now. Said his name was Helming, John Helming. That's probably a phony. He's about 50, tall, over 6 foot, white hair and gray eyes. No, I still don't know what it's all about or what he's after, but have you been able to trace this number yet? Well, how long will it take? Okay, I'll hang on, but... What? The lights just went out. The room's pitch dark and somebody's coming in again. I better stop. But for Pete's sake, hurry! Who's that? Who just came in?
Who are you?
A girl.
Keep away from me. Keep away, do you hear?
Keep away. What's the angle now?
Angle? Why did you bring me here?
Wait a minute. You mean he put the snatch on you, too?
When I was on my way home, chloroform or something. And the next thing I knew... Why are you pretending? You're in on it, too. You must be. It's a trap.
It's a trap, all right. But I'm not in on it. I'm in it, along with you. My name is Watson. Joe Watson.
I'm Betty Grant. You swear?
I swear. What would I lie about it for? I wonder why he put you in here. Put us together.
Who is he? What's he going to do?
I don't know. He said something about an experiment. An experiment in fear, but... Hey, listen, we've got to get out of here somehow, some way.
He might be listening.
Very astute, my dear. Of course I'm listening.
What the... Where are you?
Right here in the dark. I've been here all the time.
Why are you...
No, Joe, don't. He must want you to go for him. He's probably got a gun.
Right again, my dear. Not that I'll need it. This is stage 2 of the experiment. A new stimulus to action has been introduced. Man against the unknown has become man and woman against the unknown.
Look, let's get down to brass tacks. Be sensible about this.
Thank you, Joe. That's why I won't need my gun. This new stimulus has been negated by an increased sense of responsibility. Responsibility towards the girl, and therefore by increased fear.
Blast you, gun or no gun, if I get my hands on you! Where are you? Where are you?
Outside now, so you can relax. That was the final stimulus in this stage. Injure pride. The discovery that I could read your innermost thoughts and knew exactly what you were going to do. But you mustn't let that bother you. I already know everything you're going to do from now on. Till the end.
Listen, you! Helming! Helming! He's gone.
Joe.
I know. Hold on, baby. Don't let it get you. There must be a way, some way.
I suppose he's still listening?
It's hard to say. But I'm going to take a chance. There's one thing he didn't figure on. A telephone.
Here?
Yes. If I can find it again in the dark. It was over on the... Here it is. I put through 2 calls already to the police. Told them what was happening and asked them to get me out of here. I had to hang up both times before they could trace the call and get this number, but this time...
Hello. Hello, operator.
What? No, this isn't the operator. You're on a busy wire.
It doesn't matter. Thank heaven I got somebody. I've been trying for about 10 minutes now.
Look, get off the line, will you? I've got to get through to the police. It's terribly important.
But you've got to help me. You've got to. My name's Ben Lazarian. I'm a prisoner someplace. I don't know where.
What?
It's true. A strange house somewhere. A doctor who says his name is Helming.
What?
What are you laughing at?
Joe, what is it? What is it?
I haven't got headquarters. I've got a guy that... I'm sorry, Ben. It's no use.
What do you mean?
We're in the same boat you are. A girl named Betty Grant and myself. Helming's got us locked up, too.
You too?
Yeah. He said he knew everything we were thinking, everything we were going to do. I did get through to the police before, but I guess he caught wise. We're talking to each other over an inside line. Yeah. We're through.
No. Joe, don't say that. Don't even think it. Look, ask him exactly where he is.
Just where are you, Ben? Do you know?
It's hard to say. I was out cold when he brought me here. It's a kind of a hall, a passageway. Cement floor, ceiling, stone walls. There doesn't seem to be any door or opening or anything like that.
That's what I thought here, too. But there must be one, or how would he have gotten you in there? Hey, listen, start looking. See if you can find it.
That's true. I never thought of that. If I do find the door and it opens into where you are...
That's right. 3 of us together. We'll surely be able to figure something out then.
Hold on. I'll start pounding on the walls. You see if you hear anything.
Go ahead.
What's he doing?
He's going to knock on the walls to see if he's anywhere near us. And if he is, if he can find a door, we can get together. Hear anything?
I'm not sure. Maybe.
I'm not sure either. Sounds awful far away, is it? There, listen. That wall right there. Hello. Hello, Ben.
Yes?
We heard you. You're right next to us. Now, Ben, you listen, and Betty will knock back. Go ahead, Betty. That way, Ben, you'll be able to tell just which wall it is.
Okay.
Right.
I hear it. I know where it is. Now to find the door, if there is one. Hold on.
He's got it. He's going to see if there's a door.
There must be one. There must be.
Ben.
And
Ben. Ben. Hello.
what is it?
I don't know. Thought I heard a moan.
Joe! Look. There is a door. It's opening. It's open.
Dr. Helming.
Why, yes. Were you expecting someone?
Well, now that you mention it, Doctor, there was someone we've been expecting and waiting for since we first heard about that cozy little place of yours. I think he's finally arrived. He's a tall, rather striking gentleman with a skull for a face, and his name is Death.
Mr. Host, that Dr. Helming is insane. Brr, he gives me the chills.
Oh, maybe it's just because it's so cold tonight, Mary. You know, it's getting so nippy these days that some of my friends are having fur collars put on their shrouds.
Well, my friends are smarter. They know that the way to warm up in cold weather is with a hot cup of fragrant, delicious Lipton tea. A cup of tea in front of the fireplace just hits the spot these chilly days. But make it Lipton's and your pleasure's complete. You brew up a pot of Lipton's, throw another log on the fire, and summer tiptoes right into the room. Let the wind blow and the snow pile up on the roof. There's all the magic of June in a cup of Lipton's. In its deep amber color, its tantalizing fragrance, and its rich, hearty flavor. And what flavor that is. Never wishy-washy. Always brisk and full and satisfying. Try it, folks. You can let winter do its worst when you've got Lipton's in your cup.
That's right, Mary. And I think it's time now for something a little more cold-blooded, such as a cold-blooded murder. We're having a juicy one here tonight. Tale of gore galore, so let's see what's happening in the dark chamber. It's just a moment later now. Standing in the darkness of the strange room, Joe and Betty stare at the tall figure of Dr. Helming, silhouetted against the dim light from outside.
I asked you whether you were expecting someone.
Then it was just a trick. It was you on the phone all the time.
Oh, don't you think I'd know his voice? Where is he?
Our friend, Mr. Lazari, right outside.
What did you do to him? Answer me. What did you do to him?
Don't you know?
Sure, I know. You killed him. Did you kill him?
Quite a state you've gotten yourself into. Why? Is it because you finally tried to do something about your predicament and failed? Or is it because you weren't sure whether I would kill or not, and because you still don't know?
You're mad. Really mad.
You'll be interested to know you have not done, nor will you do, one thing that I did not foresee. Every move you made, every emotion you felt, was charted, outlined, and...
What's that?
That, I think, is probably the police.
The police?
Yes. I know that you're very anxious to talk to them, and I'll see that you get a chance to. Soon. Good evening, officer.
I'm looking for a guy named Helming. Dr. Helming.
I'm Dr. Helming. Come in, won't you?
Okay. Thanks. This is kind of a funny business. It's about a phone call we got a while ago, finally traced here. A guy who said he was a prisoner or something.
That must have been Watson.
Yeah, that's his name. Joe Watson. Do you know him?
Of course. I can't tell you how sorry I am. It was really very careless of me, and I'll see that it doesn't happen again.
What do you mean?
If you did any investigating, which I'm sure you did, then you know that I don't run a sanitarium exactly, but I do take a few patients. Mental cases for treatment.
Ah, so that's it. A nut, eh?
I wish you wouldn't say that. Watson's case is particularly interesting. A 4F who wasn't able to enlist, and he developed a persecution mania.
Thinks that everyone is down on him, eh?
Not everyone, exactly. His present fantasy is that he's an ex-GI and that I'm keeping him prisoner.
Sure sounds plenty tough. Well, I guess I'll run along. I'm sorry I bothered
Don't you want to see them first, officer? Talk to them?
There's no need of that, Doctor. We get calls from cranks every day. We always investigate a cause.
But I insist. After all, you only have my word for it. There's just one thing I'd like to caution you about.
Sure, I know. I'll play along. Humor them.
Splendid. Right in here.
It's quite a room.
Joe! Look!
It's a cop, and that means that you did get my message.
Sure, Joe. Took a little time to trace the call, but everything's okay.
Oh, thank heaven. It was such a screwy story, I was afraid that... Hey, wait a minute. Then why is he standing there like that? Why haven't you got the bracelets on him?
Dr. Helming? No need for any rough stuff. He said he'd come along quietly.
What?
You're lying. I don't know why, but there's something wrong here. Something... I know. You think we made the whole thing up. That we're crazy.
No.
It's true. He told you we were, and you believed him.
Of course not. Look,
Stop it, will you? Stop saying that. Oh, if I could only prove it somehow. Show you. I know. Lazari.
Joe!
Murder. That'll open your eyes. Somewhere in that wall is a door. Make 'em open it. Show you what's behind it.
I think maybe I'd better be going, Doc.
But there is a door there, officer. Just a second. I'll open it for you. Here we are.
Joe. Body. It's gone.
These doctors are always hiding the bodies. If it turns up again later, give us another ring, huh? Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Can I go out this way, Doc?
Down to the end of the corridor, then to your right.
I'm sorry I gave you all this trouble.
Perfectly all right. Thank you for being so understanding.
Quite all right.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Doc.
Well, children?
Don't look that way, Joe. Don't. I know what you're thinking, and it's not true. We're not crazy. There was a body there.
Of course.
You hid it when you went out to let the cop in. And the telephone. You left that here purposely. Use it. Get the police here.
Obviously. I told you that this was to be an experiment in fear. What I didn't tell you was that, in a sense, I was one of the subjects, too. It was important for me to learn how I would function under pressure. And speaking objectively, I think I did rather well. Don't you?
Why are you doing all this? What are you after?
There's no reason why I shouldn't tell you. If anyone truly understands the nature of fear, is able accurately to forecast the actions and reactions of an individual, then he can use fear as a weapon. Society will react as the individual reacts. You see, society doesn't want to believe that anything can menace it. Doesn't want to take action to protect itself, any more than the individual does. This was something that Hitler and Mussolini understood intuitively. I understand it scientifically. They failed, but I shall succeed.
You mean that you...
I'm afraid that's all I have time for. As far as you two are concerned, the experiment is finished. Completely finished. I have a few arrangements to take care of, and then, well, make the best of these last few minutes, for they will be your last.
Joe, do you hear anything? Is he coming back?
Not yet.
He's going to kill us, isn't he? Just the way he killed Lazari.
He's going to try to.
Why are you sitting there like that, looking at me?
I guess because it's the first chance I've had to look at you.
How do you mean?
When he first put you in here, it was all dark. So many things happened after that. It's funny.
What is?
The things that you can tell about a person even in the dark. I kind of thought you were little, and I knew you were awful nice and had a lot of nerve, but I didn't think you'd be so pretty.
I'm not so pretty, Joe. I'm not very brave either. I'm scared. I'm awful scared. And I don't want to die.
Don't worry about it, baby. Don't think about it.
Just sitting here like this, waiting. And there's nothing we can do. Every time we did try to do something, it was something he knew about. He was expecting us to do.
Please, baby.
Joe, something happened to you. You were scared before, too, but now...
It was not knowing that was scary. Not knowing what was going to happen or why or what you could do about it. But once you do know, once you make up your mind, then you've got to forget about it. Forget about everything.
Make up your mind about what?
This is going to sound kind of funny, especially now, but... Well, do you have anyone special? A fellow, I mean?
Why... Oh, no.
That's good. I mean... Well, gee, it's a shame we never met before. If we had, we wouldn't be here now. I mean, we probably would have been out together someplace. And what time do you get through work usually?
About 6. The store closes at 5:30, but...
Me too. I could have picked you up at about 6.
Joe, I hear something. He's coming.
Yeah. Okay, get up. Over in the corner of the room so that he'll see you as soon as he opens the door.
What about you?
I'll be waiting over here, behind the door.
Joe, you're not going to...
I know I haven't got much of a chance, but... Well, wish me luck. That it'll be quick anyway.
Oh, no, Joe, please.
All right, my young friend. Time. All my arrangements have been completed, and I'm... Where's Watson?
Right here. It's okay, baby. Didn't get me. I had the barrel of the gun and... Good Lord. Got him. In the chest.
But you couldn't have done that. You couldn't have.
Outside, Betty. See if you can find another phone. Call the police again. And this time, tell them to bring an ambulance.
But you couldn't have done it. It was all plotted, graphed, and worked out in detail. I knew just what you were going to do, how you would react. By this time, you were to be in a state of complete frustration, resigned, ready to die. Why did you do it? Why?
I don't know. Now, just take it easy.
I've got to know. You've got to tell me. Was it because of the girl? Out of desperation? Because you knew you were going to die anyway?
I tell you, I don't know. I just know that, well, a guy will take just so much pushing around.
Pushing around, eh? Well, it sounds to me as if one of our characters is going to get a lot of pushing around. At the end of a pitchfork and in a very warm climate. Yes, good old Helming's finished. He's got to be if we're to have at least 2 corpses, the inner sanctum minimum. Oh, you think that's a little arbitrary? Not at all. We've got to have at least 2 corpses to play our theme song, When a Body Meets a Body.
Theme song? I didn't know we had one.
Oh, Mary, we've got lots of them. Didn't you ever hear our skeleton song? I ain't got no body.
Mr. Host, let's be serious for a moment, because I want to talk about one of the most serious things in life, our health. For instance, the war may eventually lead to an increase in tuberculosis. And that's why the makers of Lipton tea and Lipton soup have asked me to remind you of the annual sale of Christmas seals. Funds raised by this sale support tuberculosis control programs, X-rays, health education, and medical research. Remember, over 500,000 people in the United States and Canada suffer from this disease. So buy as many Christmas seals as you can. No one is safe from tuberculosis until everyone is safe. And Christmas seals can save lives.
And now, friend, here's a word of wholesome advice. If you've had any murderous thoughts lately, give them up. It just doesn't pay. Why, I know a lady who killed off her husband, and, you know, it just ruined her marriage as he grew very cold to her. Oh, by the way, this month's Inner Sanctum mystery novel is The Fearful Passage by H.C. Branson. Yes, and next week's Inner Sanctum story, directed by Hyman Brown and brought to you by Lipton Tea and Lipton Soup. Next week's story is about a vampire. He's a very stingy fellow, as when you go out with him, the drinks are always on you. Naturally, we're going to try to make him feel at home here, so I just ordered a good supply of bats with green eyes, a coffin for him to sleep in, and a wooden stake to drive through his heart. I wouldn't stake my life on it, friends, but he may visit you before next Tuesday. Until then, good night. Pleasant dreams.
Lipton Tea and Lipton Soup present Inner Sanctum Mysteries. Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum. This is your host to welcome you through the squeaking door for another half hour of lovely chills and shudders. Oh, before we begin tonight, I'd like to give you a word of advice. If you should ever walk through a cemetery at midnight and come face to face with a transparent personality floating above a tombstone, don't be frightened. After all, you can see right through him.
Good gracious, why do we have to talk about cemeteries?
Because, Mary, our story tonight is about a vampire. Where else would you expect to find one if not in the cemetery? In the Vampire State Building?
Well, suppose you go wait in that closet there and talk to the skeleton while I have a word with our Lipton listeners about one secret of success. You know, folks, when a Hollywood actress climbs up to stardom, it's usually because there's something different about her personality. And that's true of other success stories. Lipton tea, for example, is the largest selling brand of tea in the world because it's different from other teas. Lipton's has that wonderful hearty flavor the tea experts call brisk, which means it's bright and zestful in taste, never wishy-washy or flat. Now, don't take my word for it. Compare Lipton's to other teas yourself. That's the real way to discover Lipton's rich, full flavor, Lipton's extra flavor that brings you all the goodness of a superb tea. It's full-bodied and satisfying, with a smooth, mellow tang that brings you real enjoyment. So pour yourself a cup of Lipton tea, folks, and then see for yourself what a difference that brisk flavor makes.
That's fine, Mary, but quietly, my dear.
Why the whisper, Mr. Hunt?
Don't make too much noise or you'll wake the dead. And we don't want to do that because tonight's story is called The Undead. It's an original radio play by Milton Lewis. Yes, and our star tonight is Anne Seymour, who plays the role of Diana.
I was alone here in the penthouse sleeping. The doors leading to the terrace were open. Suddenly, I was awakened by a queer, whirring noise that sounded like the flapping of wings. I opened my eyes. Moonlight filled the room. It was one of those clear, cloudless nights. But the winds moaned and howled like weeping women. Somewhere, a dog howled. I sat up, peered into the green light of the moon. Could see nothing at first. I lay down again. My eyes were half closed. And I heard it again. The sound of wings beating on the air. I told myself it was nothing. Until out of the queer green shadows that surrounded me like a mist, I saw a pair of blood-red eyes close to my face. No, they weren't human eyes. They were rimmed with green. And they glittered like glass in the dark. I looked closer. Too frightened to move. Too terrified to cry out. The thing that seemed to be flying round my head looked like a bat. Yet it wasn't a bat. Suddenly it floated down. I felt soft fur on my neck. And my throat was pierced with a sharp, terrible pain. I started screaming, "Let me go! Let me go! Richard! Where are you, Richard? Richard!"
Go on, Diana.
When I felt your arms around me, I knew I was safe, Richard, but it was the most horrible dream I ever had.
Yes, I know, darling. You were hysterical.
What do you think it meant?
Well, nothing. Nothing, of course, dear. Everyone has nightmares like that sometime or other.
But it was so vivid. I could almost swear it happened just as I told it to you.
Now, Diana, do you really believe you've encountered a vampire?
I know it sounds ridiculous, darling.
Listen, baby, you're living in New York City on top of an 18-story building. This is 1945, not the Middle Ages. But the whole notion is just rubbish.
I tried to tell myself it was nonsense, too. But somehow... Oh, Richard, I want to get out of this place.
But why?
I don't like this apartment. There's something evil, sinister here. I've always felt it. And listen. Listen to that wind. The wind howls around here all the time.
Well, naturally, it's a penthouse, and it catches the winds from the river.
You hear that? Something flapping on the terrace.
That's just the awning.
There are always queer noises around here, all the time, and I can't bear it being alone here at night. Richard, please don't let me stay here alone tonight.
I can't stay with you, darling. I've got to go to the theater.
I don't want you to go there, please. Let your understudy take the part tonight. Take me away from here, far away when it's warm and there's sunlight.
Diana, you don't know what you're saying, dear. I can't give up my part in the show.
Of course. Of course. Oh, darling, forgive me, please. I'm sorry I haven't mentioned it. You do forgive me, don't you, Richard? Say you do.
Why, of course. You're just upset over this silly dream.
I know. I won't mention it again.
You're okay, baby. Well, it's 10 to 8. I better get going. Want to come with me?
Yes. No, I'm going to stay here.
But if this place frightens you...
That's just why I'm going to stay. And alone. I'm going to beat this thing. Somehow.
That's better, darling. Much better.
Here's your coat.
Right.
And you better take your scarf. It feels chilly. Richard.
I said I won't mention it again, but there's one thing more I have to tell you, that the face of that thing in my dream, it was your face.
Diana, in the name of
I won't
heaven...
talk of it anymore, I promise you, darling. I didn't mean to upset you just before you went to the theater. Just kiss me, dear. I'll be all right. I'll be all right.
Diana.
Good night, dear. I'll be waiting when you get back. It was just midnight, 2 nights later. I was waiting for Richard to come home from the theater. I was going through his desk looking for a postage stamp, and I found something that turned my blood to ice. It was a newspaper clipping dated 10 years ago. The picture of a man, and under it the caption, "Prominent real estate operator Richard Barker, found dead of a sudden stroke." I looked at the picture again. There could be no doubt of it. It was Richard. I read further. The deceased will be buried at Greenlawn Cemetery after services in the Westland Funeral Chapel.
Good evening, Diana.
Richard.
Why, what's the matter? You seem startled.
I didn't hear you come in.
Have you been brooding again?
No, Richard. Of course not.
Well, how do you feel tonight?
Not very well.
Weak?
Weak, sleepy, ill.
Well, no wonder. You've hardly been eating a thing. And I know that you never catch a wink of sleep.
I told you I can't sleep in the daytime as you do. As you do.
Why are you staring at me like that?
Why? Why do you sleep in the daytime?
I've been doing it for years.
Years?
What's so terrible about that? Most theatrical people do. We live and work at night.
Yes, I know.
Really, Diana, what is the matter with you?
Nothing. You think I'm losing my mind?
Well, I don't know what to think.
Why are you pretending?
Pretending what?
That you're something other than what you are. Because I know what you are, Richard.
Really?
I found out. This clipping I found in your desk, it tells how you died.
That clipping? Oh, that.
Why are you laughing?
Well, you see, it's a joke. It's a gag. One of my pictures was sent to the papers, publicity for a new play, you know. And a drunken typester put it in the obituary column. It's quite an amusing story.
I don't believe you. You're lying.
Listen, you can't go on like this.
No, don't touch me.
You're not well, darling.
Get your hands away from me.
But I just want to kiss
you.
No,
don't touch me.
Diana, where are you going?
Out of here.
Diana, come back.
I'll come back when I've proved something to myself. Is there anyone there?
What do you want, ma'am?
I'm sorry to wake you up. Are you the caretaker here at Greenlawn?
Many years, ma'am.
I want to see the grave of Richard Barker.
Who are you?
Diana Barker. His wife.
But it's 1 a.m, Mrs. Barker.
I know what time it is. I want to see the grave.
No one comes at a time like this.
Please, will you tell me? Perhaps this will help.
$10.
For disturbing you.
All right. You take the path in back of my house. Turn to the right. Have you a flashlight?
I brought one from the car.
It's only a short way, but it isn't a grave, ma'am. It's sort of a tomb.
Thank you. I'll find it.
You want me to come with you?
No, I've troubled you enough. Good night.
Good night.
Somewhere, an owl was howling, as though warning me not to go on with this insane adventure. But I knew I had to continue. I had to be certain. I followed his directions along the path of the cemetery. The moon poked yellow fingers through scudding clouds, as though showing me the way. I was frightened, terrified. There's nothing to fear from the dead. Kept telling myself that to keep up my courage. The dead. Perhaps they were right. There was nothing to fear from them. But the undead. There it was. A tomb. The inscription was clear. Here lies Richard Barker, born May 7th, 1890. Died September 4th, 1935. There was a lock on the door. It was old and rusty. I'd come this far. I made up my mind. I picked up a stone. smashed the lock. I opened the door. Blackness. Inky blackness, such as one imagines one would see at the end of the world. Turned on the flashlight I took from the car. Coffin was lying in the center of the tomb, on an altar. I felt my heart beating wildly, like a throbbing drum inside me. With a trembling hand, I opened the coffin. I looked down on a ghastly white satin lining. That was all there was in the coffin. There was nothing else. It was empty. I looked up. There was a face staring at me in the shadows of the tomb. It was Richard.
Diana, I knew you'd come here.
Well, friends, that just goes to show that an empty coffin makes the most noise. You know, this is the kind of nice domestic story I like. The intimate family chronicle of a vampire.
My goodness, is that what you call intimate family life?
Why, of course, Mary. It looks like our lovebirds will even share the same coffin.
I'm afraid you're drawing a very strange picture of family life, Mr. Hobst.
Right, Mary. And now let's go back to our horrors. Let me see. What dire predicament are we in tonight? Oh, yes. Diana has just discovered that her husband was wandering around his tomb. What would you do in a situation like that? Here's what Diana did. Listen.
I ran blindly, stumbling, tearing my clothes. Somehow I managed to reach the car, start the motor. In the car, I knew it wasn't all some dream. People didn't come back from the dead. Did they? Could they? I drove to the city. I wanted to see the lights, people, hear music. I wanted to be sure this was the world I'd always known. I tried to think. I tried to reason. I tried to understand what had happened to me. Because I knew something was happening to me. Something that I dreaded. I was becoming like them. Like Richard. I felt strange craving. Desires that I didn't dare think of.
Excuse me, Mrs. Barker.
Oh.
May I sit with you?
I don't believe I know you.
But perhaps not. Does it make any difference?
No. No, it doesn't. Please sit down.
Thank you.
I'm glad you came over. I'm glad to be able to talk to anyone tonight.
I've been watching you for the last 10 minutes.
Have you?
You look very strange tonight.
How do you know me?
We all know each other.
We?
Yes. You realize you'll be dead soon.
Dead?
At least what they call dead.
You know what's happened?
Oh, yes, of course. I've seen it happening for weeks. Your face became paler and paler. It will not be long now. You will become one of us.
I don't want to.
It's not in your hands.
It isn't true. It can't be true.
It's quite true. Many of us have gone on for hundreds of years. Those who sustain us become like us.
And I...
There is no escape.
No, I don't believe it.
Don't you feel it? Blood. That strange desire.
Yes.
There. You see?
I don't want to.
I once tried to fight it, too. It's no use.
I'm going away. Far away, where he can't reach me. I'm going now where no one can reach me.
Waiter! Waiter! Will you help me here? There's been an accident.
Everything's going to be all right, Diana. Just lie here and rest quietly. You're in your own home.
I opened my eyes and saw Claudia, my older sister. Never was so glad to see anyone in all my life. Claudia had always helped me, always advised me. She'd know what to do.
You want something to eat?
No, I'm not hungry.
But the doctor said you'd have to eat.
How did I get here?
You collapsed in a cocktail lounge. They brought you home.
When?
Last night.
It's dark out.
You've been sleeping almost 24 hours.
Where's Richard?
At the theater. Poor boy, he was so worried about you.
Was he?
Well, he sent for me. I've been with you since last night. Diana, what happened?
It's terribly difficult to explain. I sometimes think I'm losing my mind. I'd be sure that's what it is if I hadn't found out differently.
Tell me about it.
I found out Richard is dead. He's been dead for 10 years.
What are you talking about?
It's true, Claudia. I went to Greenlawn. I saw his tomb. I opened it, and the coffin was empty.
Diana.
I know what you're thinking, but I'm not insane. He never sleeps at night. Now I feel this strange craving. Claudia, don't steer.
You know what you're saying.
Yes, I know it sounds wild, fantastic, but I haven't told this to anyone, but it's true. There are things in this world you only think are primitive superstitions, but... Claudia, you must believe me.
Yes, of course, I believe you, dear.
We must destroy Richard. I read about those things. We must destroy him by driving a wooden stake through his heart. That's the only way I can escape from him. That's the only way I can become a human being again.
Diana.
You'll help me, Claudia.
Of course, dear. Haven't I always helped you?
Where are you going?
Just to fix you something to eat.
No, you're going to leave me. Leave me here alone with him. I won't let you do that, Claudia.
That gun. Where did you get that gun?
We've always had one here. Ever since I first told Richard I was afraid of this place. You're not going to leave me alone now, Claudia. I'm not going to let you.
Of course not.
Get away from that door.
That's what you
Claudia, come back. No. I got insane. No. Gone. Insane. She was so sure I was insane, she didn't even give me a chance to explain. I was alone in the house. I felt terribly weak. I wanted to sleep. I wanted to sleep forever and ever. But I knew if I lay down and closed my eyes, I might never open them again. Never open them and see the world as you or I used to. I'd be something else. I looked at the clock. Almost midnight. Richard would be coming back any minute. I ran to the door, locked it from the inside with a safety bolt. What to do? What to do? Police. I ran to the telephone.
Operator?
Hello, operator. Get me the police and hurry, please.
1 moment, please.
Hurry, will you? This is a matter of life and death. Hello, are you ringing them?
Police department. Sergeant Kilway talking.
Hello, police. You've got to help me.
Yes, what is it, lady?
My husband, he's going to do something to me tonight. He's going to make me what he is.
What's that, lady?
He's been dead for 10 years. I saw his empty coffin. That's proof, isn't it? That's evidence. You always want evidence, and there it is. Now, do you understand?
Well, I'm not sure I do, lady. What's your name?
Diana Barker.
Well, all right. Now, calm down. Tell me where you live.
I live... Oh, you think I'm insane, too, don't you?
I didn't say that.
You think I'm crazy, just as Claudia does.
If you'll just give me the address, lady.
Oh, what's the use?
Please, lady.
No one believes it. I know I'm not insane. I know it, and yet... What's that? His key in the lock. He can't open it. It's bolted from the inside. He's trying to get in. But he can't. Not with that bolt. I won't open it. I won't. I'll just pretend I don't hear it. I'll cover my ears with my hands and I won't hear it. He can't get in here. If I can keep him out until daylight, I'll be safe. Safe. Suddenly, doorbell stopped. I knew he hadn't gone away. I could feel him near me. But he couldn't get in. No, he couldn't get into the penthouse. There was no way to get in unless he came through the terrace. And there was no way to get on the terrace unless he could fly. Fly. The wind was screaming. When I turned to look at the French doors leading to the terrace, it was impossible. He couldn't. And yet, the doors burst open. The wind blew through the house like a cyclone. The air framed in the double doors. Stood Richard.
Why didn't you let me in?
How did you get out on the terrace?
Never mind. What are you doing with that gun?
Don't come near me, Richard.
Diana?
Go away. Go away and leave me alone.
Give me that gun.
No.
I'm warning you, Diana. You'd better give it to me.
If you take another step toward me, I'll fire.
Diana. You see?
The bullets. They didn't harm you.
No.
But I didn't miss.
No.
It's empty.
You see? It didn't do any good.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to put an end to this once and for all, Diana.
An end?
I've prepared for this. I have a knife. You see?
Richard.
Don't be afraid, Diana. You won't quite die.
No, don't.
Come here, Diana.
No, Richard, no.
You're making too much trouble while you're alive.
Help me, someone! Let go of me! I saw the knife over my throat. I beat at his chest with the empty pistol. Then just before everything became black, I saw 3 flashes of lightning.
Go on, Mrs. Barker.
When I woke up in the hospital, Inspector, I couldn't believe that I was still alive. It seemed like a miracle.
You would have been dead if it wasn't for your sister.
Claudia.
She came back with one of our men. He shot and killed your husband just as he was about to plunge the dagger into you.
But how did he get in?
He came over the adjoining terrace from the penthouse next door, just as your husband did. No, Mrs. Barker. Your husband didn't fly.
But the other things, the picture, the tomb, the empty coffin.
All props for an elaborate scheme your husband worked out to murder you. Richard Barker is not an uncommon name. He found a man with that name who died 10 years ago. He removed the body. He got the whole idea from the dream you told him.
But why?
To establish that you were insane.
Oh.
He planned to murder you and claim he did it in self-defense to protect himself against an insane woman.
But the gun...
Filled with blanks. He wanted to get your money, Mrs. Barker.
But the way I felt, those strange cravings...
You're suffering from anemia. Your doctor told us that. It's not uncommon for anemia sufferers to feel the way you did.
I still can't believe it. I still feel that he isn't quite dead.
I'll relieve that fear right now. His body's in the other room. I think you should see it. Come this way, Mrs. Barker. There. Raise the lid of the coffin, Charlie.
Yes, Inspector.
What's the matter?
He looks so lifelike. His lips are so ready. He looks as though he could move. Get up at any minute.
Nonsense. I assure you he's quite dead, Mrs. Barker. And I can further assure you that the police department has never encountered one authentic vampire in its history.
You're very reassuring, Inspector. I think I'd better leave now. Don't bother to see me to the door. Bye.
All right, Charlie. Cover him up and have him buried.
Okay, Inspector.
What is it, Charlie?
Inspector. Maybe I'm nuts, but I could swear that I saw him move.
Oh, nonsense. Close the lid. It's getting dark, Charlie. Sun sure goes down quick these winter days. I'm going home. Good night, Charlie.
Well, friends, do you think Richard is really dead? Oh, that's something for you to sleep on tonight. Oh, and by the way, we have a moral for tonight's story. Yes, it's taken from the diary of Miss Delirium Tremens, who once said, "Never marry a vampire. He may turn out to be 500 years old without a social security number to his name. And how can a girl have any fun going around with a guy like that?"
Well, Mr. Host, I don't think that's a serious problem. I'm positive that no girl will ever meet a vampire, much less marry one.
Ah, but you can't be sure, Mary. The safest thing is to drive a wooden stake through your husband's heart. Yes, if he dies, then he must be a vampire.
Oh, such foolishness. Let's forget all this talk about vampires, because I want to tell the folks about something wonderful that's going to happen next week. And next Tuesday's Christmas, you know. So instead of our usual mystery thriller, Inner Sanctum will bring you a tender and beautiful Christmas play called The Littlest Angel. And our star will be that great and beloved actress, Helen Hayes. So be sure to tune into this station at the regular Inner Sanctum time next week. I promise you, The Littlest Angel, starring Helen Hayes, and brought to you by the makers of Lipton Tea and Lipton Soup, will be the crowning pleasure of your Christmas day.
That sounds great, Mary. You know, Christmas is really wonderful. There's something about it that gets even the most hardened characters. Oh, by the way, this month's Inner Sanctum mystery novel is The Fearful Passage by H.C. Branson. And don't forget what Mary told you, friends. Next week, we'll bring you Inner Sanctum's special Christmas program, directed by Hyman Brown and starring Helen Hayes, America's First Lady of the Theater. There'll be no gore, no chill. Not even one little murder, believe it or not. The holiday spirit is getting even worse. So be sure to join us next Tuesday. Meanwhile, I'm going to do my Christmas shopping. You know where I can get a nice fur-lined coffin for a cold-blooded friend? Until next Tuesday, then. Good night. Pleasant dreams. Hmm?
Lipton Tea and Lipton Soup present Inner Sanctum Mysteries. Good evening, students of the mystic marvels of manifold murder. This is your host, extending a cordial invitation to step through the creaking door of the inner sanctum, where we probe deep into the dark and cavernous depths of men's souls to see what makes them kill. Our clinic here is the whole vast world of crime. And you who listen in may hear us dissect our characters at a safe distance. And unless your nerves are strong, you'd better take my advice and keep your distance.
Why, Mr. Host, that's not the kind of advice to give folks. It sounds unfriendly.
Well, what would you suggest, Mary?
Well, give them some sort of friendly advice. Like pointing out to them the extra delight they'll get from a cheering cup of Lipton tea. Then go on to tell them why Lipton's is so downright delicious. Tell them that the reason is Lipton's brisk flavor. And don't forget to mention that brisk is the tea expert's own word for the spirited, full-bodied flavor of Lipton's. So refreshing and so zestful. Explain that Lipton's brisk flavor is never flat, but always lively and satisfying. And in closing, remind them to try Lipton's soon, because in every cup of Lipton's there's extra enjoyment. And now that's the kind of advice you should give folks.
Well, Mary, you seem to have given it to them already. So we can go ahead and get launched on Skeleton Bay. That's the title of tonight's story. An original radio play by Emil Tepperman. It's about a lady novelist, a writer of mystery stories. It opens at a swanky hotel with private cabins situated on a storm-swept rock-bound coast. The story itself is all about... You guessed it. Murder. Here's Betty Lou Gerson as Carol De Winter, the lady novelist, who will give us a blow-by-blow description.
I'll tell you first about the night I met Michael Barrett. It was in August at Skeleton Bay. I'd come to the hotel supposedly for a rest. That was what I kept telling myself. But in reality, I didn't know why I'd come here.
Skeleton Bay.
I'd seen the name advertised months ago.
Skeleton Bay.
Since then, it kept hammering at the inside of my brain. It's like the voice of implacable fate commanding. Because I didn't like crowds, the hotel manager had given me a cabin near the beach all to myself. It was the middle of the night, but I couldn't sleep. The wind came in from the ocean, howling like a hungry beast across the shoals. And the pounding of the surf mingled with the angry, baffled growl of the sea. I sat at the window in the dark, staring out at the beach. I was restless, excited. It was then I saw the signal. It was just a winking little light a few yards away on the beach. Someone was blinking a flashlight. On and off, on and off. I was able to make out the figure of a man in boots and a leather jacket. He was signaling toward the hotel. But to whom? I had the answer in a moment. A man moved past my window, going down toward the light. He had his collar turned up against the wind, his hat brim pulled low. But I knew who it was. Mr. Field. The small, furtive man who'd come up on the train with me. The two men met, barely a stone's throw from my window. I could hardly see them huddled closely together. This was excitement, mystery, intrigue. The stimulation I wanted and needed. I had to know what was going on. I threw on a raincoat, opened the cabin door. The wind swept my hair in a streamer, and the spray stung my face as I hurried down the beach. My blood began to race, my heart to pound. For those two men were not engaged in any conference. They were locked in struggle.
It was a deadly, silent struggle with only a grunt now and then. I saw the flashing gleam of a knife. I couldn't tell who had the weapon. The tall man in the leather jacket or the furtive Mr. Field. And then I saw the blade plunge home into the throat of the furtive Mr. Field. I felt a sudden surge of wild elation. This was murder. I had witnessed murder. The tall man let the body of Mr. Field slide down to the sand. Then he looked up and saw me. He stood there with a bloody knife in his hand, and we looked at each other.
Who are you?
I'm Carola Winter. I have this cabin here, number 5.
You saw me kill him?
Yes, I saw you.
What are you going to do about it?
I'm going to help you dispose of the body. He told me his name was Michael Barrett. He lived on the opposite side of the bay in the house high up on the cliff.
It won't be so easy to get rid of the body. If I had the boat, I could take him out and drop him over, but it's too rough tonight. If there was some place to hide him for a day, I could come across in the boat tomorrow night.
You can hide him in the closet in my cabin. Nobody will look there.
Better lock the closet door.
Yes, of course.
You sure nobody will come snooping here?
Nobody comes here but the maid.
All right. I'll be back tomorrow night with a boat.
Did you pick up the knife?
Yeah. Got it in my pocket.
Well, I guess that's all.
Good night, Carola.
Good night, Michael. All night I sat up alone, with the locked closet door between me and the staring, sightless body of Mr. Field. At breakfast the next morning, they'd already discovered the disappearance.
And the maid says his bed wasn't slept in at all. I think he could have committed suicide in the ocean. He was such a
I hurried through my breakfast listening to the gossip all around me. Now, in broad daylight, I hardly believe the thing had really happened last night.
You know, the hotel manager thinks it might be murder. I heard him phoning for the police.
The police? I hadn't counted on that.
Anything wrong, my dear? You look sick.
I do feel a bit dizzy. I think I'll get some fresh air.
Oh, poor dear. It must be quite a shock to her. She came up on the train with Mr. Field, you know.
Out in the open air, I let the wind cool my fevered face as I hurried down toward the beach. It was only 9:30 in the morning. A whole day. A whole evening before Michael could come for the body. And the police would be around all day investigating, snooping. And all the time, Mr. Field would be sitting in my closet, staring blankly out of his sightless eyes. When I reached my cabin, I put a hand on the doorknob. Suddenly, I went cold all over. The door was unlocked. I stood still as a statue, listening. Yes, there was someone inside. Someone moving around. I only had my handbag. I had a pistol in it. I always carried it for protection. But my handbag was inside on the dresser. Slowly, I pressed the door open. Half inch, an inch. And then the door creaked.
Is that you, Miss Winter?
The maid. It was only the maid, of course. She'd be making up the bed. Why hadn't I thought of that?
Miss Winter, is that you?
Yes, it's I. What are you doing in that closet with those keys?
Why, they're just my pass keys, Miss Winter. I was just going to tidy up the closet.
I didn't ask you to do anything to the closet.
Well, but that's part of the job, Miss Winter. I'm supposed to do that in all the rooms.
Well, you leave this one alone. Keep away from that closet, do you hear?
Yes, Miss Winter. But I was only trying to help.
I want your help. I'll ask for it. Now, please leave at once.
Just as you say, Miss Winter. I'm sorry if I did anything wrong.
Did she suspect anything? I hadn't liked her tone. Why had I been so sharp with her? Now she'd surely think there was something in the closet. Something she shouldn't see. At lunchtime, I didn't want to leave the cabin. I sat at the window. And I could almost feel the sightless eyes of Mr. Field staring at me through the closet door. Someone at the door. Who? Just a minute.
Miss Winter? Miss Carola Winter?
Yes, I'm Miss Winter.
I'm sorry to trouble you, Miss Winter. I'm Detective Sergeant Smith from headquarters. May I come in for a moment?
Well, yes, please do. What can I do for you, Sergeant Smith?
We're out here investigating this field business. He hasn't turned up yet.
Well, I'm sure he will in time.
Well, I wish I could be so sure, Miss Winter.
What do you mean?
We've gone through his room. Found some mighty queer things.
Queer things?
It seems this Mr. Fields is in some sort of racket. There's a good chance he may have been murdered.
You don't say.
I understand you came up on the train with him.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Did you have any conversation with him on the train?
No, none at all.
You're the Carola Winter who writes the mystery novels, aren't you?
The same.
Yes, I've read every one of them. They're darn good, Miss Winter.
Why, thank you.
Do you think you'll get a plot out of this? Mr. Field.
Why, I can't tell yet. I wish you'd keep me posted on developments in case it does turn out to have a plot.
Well, I sure will, Miss Winter. By the way, we found this picture among the papers in Field's room. I'm showing it to everybody around in case they might recognize it. It's an old newspaper item, about 10 years old. Can't figure out why he was carrying it around. It's about a guy named Wycliffe. It's wanted for murder in Canada. Here, take a look at it.
I felt the blood racing in my veins, pounding at my wrists. The picture of the man named Wycliffe, who was wanted for murder in Canada, was a picture of Michael Barrett.
Well, it looks as if Michael Barrett is a lucky guy. With a beautiful woman ready to commit murder for him. But what'll he do when she runs out of victims and begins looking at him with a calculating eye? As for Carola, she sinned heavily, because murder is the greatest sin. Yes, if you ask me, she'd better hope for a depression, then all wages will go down, including the wages of sin.
Well, I never knew that murder and economics were related, Mr. Host.
Oh, definitely, Mary. Take the high cost of living, for instance. Why, those prices are murder.
Oh, yes, Mr. Host, it is difficult when the cost of living starts to climb. But then, so often, the things that really add up to good living are just simple, inexpensive pleasures. Like that piping hot cup of Lipton tea that many of us find waiting when we come down to breakfast each morning. As you read the morning paper and sip that cheery cup of Lipton's, the whole world seems brighter. It's simply wonderful the way that lively, spirited Lipton tea gets you off to a fresh start. For Lipton's brisk flavor gives you all the natural zest of tea at its best. Gives you extra delight, extra satisfaction. So remember this, folks. At breakfast time, dinner time, or any other time when you want a grand, refreshing drink, pour yourself a cup of Lipton tea.
And now, let's get back to the rock-bound coast of Skeleton Bay and see how Carola entertains the grisly guest in her closet.
I don't remember now how I got rid of that Detective Smith. I told him I'd never seen the man in the picture and sent him away. The day was interminable. From my window, I could see the guests moving about the beach. But none of them went in swimming. The weather was too rough. I wondered if Michael would be able to bring the boat over tonight. If not, how much longer could I sit guard over Mr. Field in the closet? Now and then, I'd see Detective Smith poking around on the beach. And then, without warning, he was standing over the very spot where Michael had stabbed Mr. Field. I watched him bend down and examine something. Was there a telltale drop of blood there? Did Smith know that was the murder spot? I saw him frown. Then he stood up, walked quickly away. I had to know what it was he'd seen there. I slipped on the coat, went out. Started toward the spot on the beach.
Going somewhere, Miss Winter?
Oh, it's you, Detective.
Going anywhere in particular?
No, I'm just going up to the hotel for dinner. It's almost dinner time, you know.
Oh, fine. I'll walk up with you if you don't mind.
Not at all.
Hey, can I help you? I'll take your arm there.
Thank you. The sand is so soft.
Yes, it's still wet. We had high tide last night. Miss Winter.
Yes?
You a sound sleeper?
What? Why do you ask?
Well, I just thought maybe you might have heard something last night. Like a fight or something.
Fight?
Yes. I was just looking at the sand back there, down near your cabin. It's all messed up, stamped around.
Well, what's that got to do with me?
Oh, nothing at all. Except I think there was a fight there last night. Maybe that's where Mr. Field was killed.
You think Mr. Field was murdered?
It's beginning to look more and more like it, Miss Winter.
Somehow, I don't know how I managed to get through with the dinner. I hurried back to the cabin. Stopped at the door, shocked and unbelieving. There was a light inside. Someone was in there. This time I had my handbag with me. I took the pistol out. Once more, I inched the door open. It happened. The thing I feared. The closet door was open. And there was the maid, stooping over the body of Mr. Field.
What are you doing there?
The body. It's Mr. Field. You killed him.
Suppose I did.
What are you doing with that gun?
What do you think?
No! Oh. The wind was high, and the weather was rough. Unfortunately, no one heard the shot. I pushed her body into the closet next to the body of Mr. Field and closed the door. Now I was a murderer, too. Who is it?
Let me in, Carla, quick.
Yes. Michael, I thought you were coming. It's been a terrible day.
What happened?
Come here, I'll show you.
Is he still in there?
See for yourself.
Great Scott, a woman. Who is she?
The maid. She opened the closet while I was out.
You killed her?
Yes, Michael. I had to kill her. There are detectives at the hotel looking for Mr. Field.
I suppose if I was smart, I'd kill you, too. And there'd be no one to talk.
Yes, Michael, that would be smart. Go ahead. Kill me, if you can. I knew he couldn't kill me because I'd seen it in his eyes. We were two of a kind, both wild, both reckless, both eager for the thrill of danger. He, too, wanted to be like the wind. We'd both been brought together here by some force stronger than either of us. And we loved each other.
Carla, darling.
Michael. No more now, Michael. We have work to do.
Yes. I'll take them down to the boat.
I'll help you. We carried Mr. Field and the maid down to the boat.
I'll take them out away and dump them.
And after that, Michael?
After that, then I'm going home.
To your house on the cliff on the other side of the bay?
Yes, Carola.
Michael, take me with you.
What?
Take me with you to your house up there on the cliff.
I'm sorry. I can't.
You can't? Why can't you?
There isn't anything I can tell you.
What are you hiding up there in the house on the cliff?
You mustn't ask. Please, Carola, you mustn't ask.
Why, you're married. You have a wife up there.
No.
Then what?
I can't tell you.
But you're going away, leaving me forever.
Not forever, Carola. Go back to the city. I'll come to you soon.
I returned to the city and waited. I waited a week, a month. But Michael Barrett did not come. I wrote to him, but there was no answer. And then one evening, I saw him. I was returning home in a taxi, and I saw him standing across the street looking up at my window. He saw me get out of the cab. He turned and started to hurry away. Michael, don't go away. Michael.
A swell dish, folks, that's easy to make and mighty easy to take. Lipton's Noodle Soup.
You can prepare it in a jiffy, and the whole family will love its delicious chickeny-tasting broth, so full of tender golden noodles. Lipton's noodle soup has all the fresh-cooked, homemade flavor of grandmother's noodle soup. Yet it's economical. It costs less and makes lots more than canned soups. So get Lipton's noodle soup mix tomorrow. And don't forget to tune in next Tuesday night for another Inner Sanctum Mystery.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
What do you mean?
Wouldn't do you any good to kill me. I've written out all about you. Your real name and about that old murder in Canada would be found if I should ever be killed.
Oh.
Michael, darling, I'm blackmailing you. There's only one thing I want from you. Your love. It shouldn't be so hard for you to meet my terms.
All right, Carola. You win. We'll be married tonight.
Soon after we were married, Michael began going out evenings. Once, sometimes twice a week. Staying out all night. He'd return late the next day. When I asked where he'd been, his temper would flare up into something terrible. I stopped asking, but I couldn't rest. I had to know where he went. One evening, I followed him. He boarded a train for Skeleton Bay. At Skeleton Bay, he set out to walk from the station, and I followed. It was no longer summer. Trees were bare, and the night was forbidding. I kept behind him when he skirted the bay to the narrow road that led up toward his house high on the cliff. It was a small stone house, and the wind whistled around it, against it, above it. I stole to one of the windows. It was barred, like a prison. Carefully, I raised my head above the sill, peered into a lighted room. Michael was there, with a woman. For the first time in my life, I knew the meaning of frustration, jealousy. Michael told me he wasn't married, but this woman, I'd helped him to do murder. I'd killed for him. I'd lied to that detective for him. And all the while, this was the secret he'd been keeping from me. I opened my handbag. I took out the pistol. I looked into the room again. The woman was alone now. Michael was gone.
So you came up after all, Carola.
Michael, you sneaked out. You knew I was here.
I'm sorry you saw through that window, Carola.
Is that your secret? That woman?
Part of it, but it's the part you mustn't know.
But I do know it now.
That's why I've got to kill you, Carola.
That knife. You still got that knife?
Yes, Carola.
Well, I've got this, Michael. He fell at my feet. I looked down and watched him die. Now I knew why I'd really come to Skeleton Bay that first day. It was for this. To kill Michael Barrett. So he's dead. At last. You've killed him. You. The woman in the house. You saw me kill him? Yes, I saw you. What are you going to do about it? Help you dispose of the body, of course. Help me dispose of the body. Those were the very words I'd said to Michael Barrett down there on the beach. Now this woman was saying them to me. Who are you? I'm Lisbeth Wycliffe. I'm Michael's sister. Sister? And you want to help me dispose of his body? See the bars on those windows? Yes. I've been a prisoner in this house for 10 years. You what? Michael killed the man I was going to marry 10 years ago in Canada. He murdered him. But this house, this prison... Michael brought me here. He's kept me a prisoner because he knew if I got free, I'd tell the world he was a murderer. And that's the secret. The secret he wouldn't even tell me. I shot her. Yes, I killed her, too. There outside the house, and she fell beside Michael. and I rolled both bodies over the cliff, down into the sea. This is the end of my book. The best mystery novel I've ever written. I know that in writing it, I deliver myself into the hands of the law. But I can't stop. I can't help myself. So now, I'm finished. I will mail it to my publisher and wait for Detective Sergeant Smith to come and get me.
Well, it looks as if Carola's mystery novel will earn a lot of money after she's executed. Yes, but I'd say it's tainted money. Why tainted? Because she'll be dead, and a ghost can't own money, so taint hers. The trouble with Carola was that her conscience was too little and too late. It told her not to commit murder after she'd done it.
Well, that's certainly too late, Mr. Host.
Oh, yes, Mary, especially for her victims. And now, what's on your mind?
Well, Mr. Host, right here, I'd like to say a word to our listeners on behalf of our veterans. You know, friends, ex-servicemen are returning to civilian jobs with a lot to offer their employers. They've had valuable training and experience in highly specialized service jobs. Many of them were able to keep up with their civilian jobs and learn new trades through special correspondence courses. And they're coming home fully equipped to do the same fine job as civilians that they did in the services. So let's give them every employment opportunity to put their increased skill to work.
And so, friends, we take our leave of lovely Carola Winter. She would have been better off if she'd remembered that the pen is mightier than the sword, because the sword is leading her right back to the pen anyhow. Oh, yes, and remember, friends, when you go on a vacation, always insist on plenty of closet space, as you never know what unexpected guests might drop in or drop dead. By the way, this month's Inner Sanctum mystery novel is Death in the Limelight by A.E. Martin. And next week, the makers of Lipton Tea and Lipton Soup will bring you another Inner Sanctum mystery directed by Hyman Brown. It's about a young chemist who discovers the secret of perpetual life. But he made the mistake of getting involved with death. So, until next Tuesday, good night. Pleasant dreams.
Here's a swell dish, folks, that's easy to make and mighty easy to take. Lipton's Noodle Soup. You can prepare it in a jiffy, and the whole family will love its delicious chickeny-tasting broth, so full of tender golden noodles. Lipton's Noodle Soup has all the fresh-cooked, homemade flavor of grandmother's noodle soup. Yet it's economical. It costs less and makes lots more than canned soups. So get Lipton's Noodle Soup Mix tomorrow. And don't forget to tune in next Tuesday night for another Inner Sanctum Mystery.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Following Japan's declaration of war on the United States, Hawaii has been under 2 air attacks today. More than 10 persons were wounded when enemy planes machine-gunned a town near Honolulu, according to a Reuters dispatch. And General Douglas MacArthur has ordered all women and children in Manila to evacuate the seacoast and move to areas inland. The Dutch East Indies has just declared war on Japan, and Costa Rica in South America has also declared war. Keep tuned to this station for further developments.
Inner Sanctum Mysteries, brought to you by the makers of Carter's Little Liver Pills, the best friend to your sunny disposition.
Good evening, friends. This is Raymond, your host, welcoming you again to the inner sanctum. Come in, won't you? Why am I smiling? Oh, but I always smile when I open the creaking door on Sunday night. You see, each week when I say good evening, I think to myself, a good evening for what? And of course, there's only one answer to that question. A good evening for a murder.
Tonight, the Inner Sanctum Mysteries brings you The Island of Death, an original radio mystery drama written by Robert Newman and presented for your entertainment by the makers of Carter's Little Liver Pill. Friends, a pleasant disposition shouldn't be just a once-in-a-while affair. It ought to be a regular thing. See if you can't make it regular by encouraging regularity with Carter's Little Liver Pill. Let them wake up the flow of one of your most vital digestive juices and prove to yourself that Carter's Little Liver Pills are the best friend to your sunny disposition.
Now I think we're ready to begin. Ready to begin as strange and terrible a tale as ever turned a man's hair gray overnight. A tale of voodoo, conjuring, black magic. Oh, now you're smiling. You don't believe in voodoo, huh? Good. Now turn down the lights, pull your chair up close, and listen to the story of the Island of Death. Come with me to the Dark Island, the secret magic island, Haiti. It is night. A fierce tropical storm is raging. The car drives slowly down the road with a cane field on one side of it, a jungle on the other.
Now which way?
I don't know, John.
Blast Brandon. Why did he let us go off alone? How are we going to get back there?
But he told us not to go off alone, John. John, look.
Where?
Ahead there. That old native walking up the road. Oh, maybe he can...
Yeah. Hey, you! Hey! Now, what's the matter with him? Is he deaf? Now, you keep blowing the horn while I put my coat on and go after him, Muriel.
All right, then. Well, there's something wrong with it.
Hey?
It doesn't work.
Well, it was working just a minute ago. Now, what's the name of...
Something, monsieur.
So you did hear me. Why didn't you come when I called you?
I am not in the habit of coming when I'm called that way, monsieur. Besides, though I am an old man, my ears are very sensitive. The noise of your horn pained me. That's why I stopped it.
You stopped it? Why, you... Well, okay. We're looking for the plantation St. Jack. Are we on the right road?
You are on the right road for many things, Monsieur Gold.
Hey, how did you know my name?
It was Gold.
Oh. Well, how do we get there?
If you go down this road 1 mile, you'll see it on your right. And when you get there, well, perhaps we will meet again.
If we do, I'll... Hey, where did he go to?
Oh, I don't know. He just disappeared.
Step back off the road into the jungle. Well, at least we know where we are now.
Yes. John,
Hey.
do you suppose he was a papaloy, a witch doctor?
What on earth makes you think that?
I don't know. The way he looked and talked. And after all, the horn did stop working.
Toast? Is that you, Toast?
No,
Muriel. Mother, I'm sorry, Mrs. Toast.
Alan, you have to make things even more difficult than they are already.
Would it make things any easier if I pretended that we were just old friends? It didn't matter to me that you'd married him instead of me.
No, Alan, I guess not.
I'm sorry, Muriel. I shouldn't say that. Hello, Alan. Order me a drink, will you? What? Yeah, thanks for the Toast.
Yes, Monsieur Randall. How was it?
Did you find out what was wrong with the horn?
Yeah, one of the wires come loose.
Met an old native on the road, and Muriel's convinced that he was a witch doctor.
But it's just that he was so strange, and, well, even though I know that there are no such things...
What we know or believe isn't terribly important. What is important is what the natives believe. They don't like being laughed at.
You mean they really still believe in voodoo, stuff like that?
Well...
You're doing, monsieur. Pierre, do you believe in voodoo?
But not really, monsieur.
Oh, this is funny. This is really funny. Hey, what's that?
Nothing, monsieur. Just the heel hands doing the Congo.
Oh. Well, they can't have done a hard day's work if they've got enough energy to dance at night. I think maybe I'll go down there.
Oh, no, monsieur. No.
What do you mean I must not?
I am sorry, monsieur. I just meant, well, if you are interested in voodoo conjuring, perhaps I could show you some.
You, Pierre?
Oh, I am no papalois, Monsieur Brandon. I have some skill with the knuckle bone, telling fortunes. And if Monsieur Coates would like...
No, why not? Go ahead, Pierre.
Very well, Monsieur. There. An arrow 9 times. That means unhappiness.
For whom?
I see a city far away from here. I see 2 men, both in love with the same woman.
Yeah, easy, Alan. Let him finish. Go on, Pierre.
One of the men is rich, powerful. The other is not. The one who is rich has his rival sent away, and in his absence marries the girl. She knows she is making a mistake.
Oh, she does she? Why, you ain't telling her.
John,
Bless you, Coach. How dare you hit him for 2 cents?
All right, Mr. Brandon. You did not hurt me.
No? Well, I haven't even started yet. You're fired.
Just a second, Coach.
Oh, Brandon. I had a hunch you weren't getting as much as you could out of the natives, that you were too soft with them. Now I know it. You're fired, too.
John, so that's why you insisted I come down here with you.
Of course. Don't you think I know that you're still in love with him? Okay, Coach, you asked for it, and I'm going to... No, you're not, Alan. I've got a gun here. Now, you stay where you are. I'm going down the field and hut and really show them who's boss.
Alan. Oh, Alan,
It's all right, daughter. Being fired doesn't bother me. But the other things, are they true?
That is really you are love. Maybe even I.
Mr. Brandon, excuse me, but I think you should know. The drum, it is not the drum Congo. It is the service people. Marron is down with the drum.
What?
Who is Marron?
He's the most famous witch doctor on the island. John may be a swine, but he hangs with him. Listen, Muriel, you stay here with Pierre. I'm going after John. Where are you? Oh, yes, I'm looking for a man named Cimarron. You are Cimarron, huh?
I am.
Another white man came down here a few minutes ago, Cimarron. Do you know where he is?
Yes, he said. He said he would pay well to see some voodoo. He said this petrol. He's in the Humpo, the temple.
What? There's no temple here in the village.
He is not. Come with me into this hut. That iron ring there, lift it up.
A trap door.
Now turn the steps. Here's the Humpo. There is open.
Coach. John. What do you want, Alan? Got to get out of here right away. That is exactly what I've been looking for. The place where they hold their spookaroo. Listen, John, I never did like you much, and I shouldn't really care what happens to you, but the white-haired native that brought me in here. You know who he is? Sure. The old coot I met on the road earlier this evening. He happens to be Cimarron, the most powerful papaloy in Haiti. Yeah? Well, when I get finished with him, he won't show his face around this plantation again in a hurry, but...
Alan! We are ready to begin.
Never mind the warning. Go ahead.
Very well. Happy, come back. Run. Someone has the little air from the jungles of the night. Come, Nita, come. See the body, loose its soul, point its feet this way, and come, Nita, come. Come, there. He has taken the body. He's coming. Quick, Bucky. The water sprinkles down the ground in front of the altar.
Hey, what is this all about? What do they think they're doing?
The bells. The bells of death. He's coming. Nita, come.
Look at him. Something is coming. What do you mean? Something. Let's do this. Who or what is it? Oh, not yet. He died. Prepare. Holy smoke. There. They're white.
Nita, yonder. Come. Down.
A woman. A white woman. Walking as if she were asleep or in a trance. As soon as she gets to the altar, we'll be able to see. Oh, great God. No. So, John Coates insisted there was no such thing as voodoo. Dared the witch doctor to invoke the god Yiranyango. And when the god did appear, he found he'd taken possession of the body of his wife. Very unusual. But not any more annoying than when a simple thing like a mean, sulky, gloomy disposition takes possession of us. Oftentimes irregularity is entirely to blame. So the sensible thing to do is get right after it with Carter's little liver pills. Now don't let the gloom of irregularity hold you back. Keep you from enjoying life and getting ahead in the world. Wake up the flow of one of your most vital digestive juices with Carter's little liver pills. Let them help you to feel up and mad and bubbling with enthusiasm and alive with the glorious feeling that goes with regularity. Just give Carter's little liver pills a trial. And I think you'll agree that Carter's little liver pills can really be the best friend to your sunny disposition. All right. Do you still think voodoo is all nonsense? Oh, you're not so sure now. But you still want me to go on with our story. Very well. Just a moment later now, and Alan Brandon and John Coates are still sitting in the subterranean temple, transfixed with horror. We left her up at the house. It can't be. But it is. She's in some kind of a trance. Blast that witch doctor. I'm going to. Stop the fool. He's in the thing now, but he's playing. What's that?
Where's the Nita? We come again.
Look. Look, they're all kneeling. Bowing to her.
You are nobody. With the power we've given you, let us see that by night and by day, through the 4 seasons, as the green things grow, watch over us, O Yida, and bless us.
Look, she's raising her hand. She's blessing them.
And now, the image, the goat without horns, take it in your hand, Yida. Breathe your spirit into it.
Look, that image. She's picking it up. Putting it to her lip. Oh, you black devil, I'll teach you. You idiot, what have you done? What I should have done before. Killed him. Probably killed not only him, but Muriel, too. Look. Yeah, she's just fainted. Let's get her out of here. Back to the house now, quick.
some brandy. Hurry.
Yes, monsieur.
Why did they let us go like that? Not even try and stop us. All of them just sitting there. Hey, I don't know, but I'd have been happier.
Here you are, monsieur. What happened to Madame?
That blasted witch doctor came around some kind of a ceremony with a goat.
He's blessing them. The goat without horns.
He must have hypnotized her or something like that. But he won't try any more of his voodoo tricks on her or anybody else. I killed him.
Killed him? Killed Cimarron?
Yeah, hold her head, Brandywine. I'll give her some of this brandy. All right.
Brandy. I am afraid that will not help, monsieur. You do not give brandy to someone who is dead.
Dead? What are you talking about?
Her heart is still beating, yes. But she is not really alive. You see, her soul left her body when Cimarron called to her. When you killed him, it could not find its way back. It is out there. So, now, wandering around, lost in the night.
Why, look, John, haven't you done enough harm already? Well, we've got to get a doctor for her. Right away.
Yes, monsieur. But if her soul does not find its way back soon, it will never come back. But there is no white doctor that can help her.
Will you shut up? Where's the nearest one, Alan? Up the Ghosty in about 9 miles up the road. I'll show you the way. All right, well, come on. You stay here and watch them, yeah? And if anything happens to her...
Yes, monsieur. I will stay.
Are you coming, John? Hurry up. Yes, all right. Holy God, wandering around somewhere in the night. She's fainted, that's all. Maybe it's a fever and she's out of her head. Well, which way? Shortest way is that way there. You mean through the jungle? But it's dark. We won't be able to see it. Listen, Coach. You may not know it, you may not care, but Muriel's life is in danger. I'm not sure a doctor can help her. But I'm going to get one if I have to crawl on my hands and knees. Alan, wait. How much further are we going to have to go? I don't know. Can't be much further. Yeah. That's what you've been saying for the last hour. We're lost. That's what we are. Lost somewhere here in the jungle. Listen. Drunk. Yeah. And I don't care what you do. But I've had enough of this. I'm going that way. Coach, no, wait. Come here. Don't you realize it? Coach! Alan, look. Hot. A fire. We're out of the jungle. Hey, it's a village. Oh, Coach. Not a village. See, the native quarter of the plantation. Huh? What do you mean? I mean, we've been walking in a circle and we're back where we started from. Why? It's impossible.
No, monsieur. It is not impossible. It is true.
Yeah. What are you doing here?
I knew this is where you would end up, so I came down here to wait for you.
It's a trick, that's what it is. You did this, the two of you.
No, monsieur. It was not us. It was he, Cimarron.
But he's dead.
Yes, he's dead. But come over here.
Cimarron. Lying and dead.
Yes, monsieur. And there in his right hand, an egg. It is the fat cat conjure. Monsieur Coach, your life is in that egg. And as long as he holds it, you can never leave here.
Never leave? But I've got to. I can't stand anymore. Ever since I shot him. Those drums. The jungle surrounding us. Waiting. Now listen, Pierre. I don't care what it costs. I don't even care about Muriel. But I gotta get away from here. Coach.
But that is very easy, monsieur. The egg. If you will take me
the egg from Cimarron's finger. Smash it. You will be able to go.
Take it? But that means that I'd have to touch him, and well, all right. I'll do it. Gee, he's holding it so tightly, it's almost as if... There. Ah. Here it is.
Drop it. Break it.
There. Now, can I go?
In just a moment, monsieur.
But you said that
yes, monsieur. But I would not advise you to move at just this moment. Turn around. Slowly.
Snake. Bushman. Deadliest snake there is.
Not just a bushman. It is Dambala. Look well at his face, no Dambala. Look well so you will know it again.
That's the Dambala. I've had enough of this. Now I'm getting out of here and I'm taking Muriel with me. Start walking, both of you. Back to the house. All right. You stop right there. Now you listen. I'm going to get the car and back it up here. You're going into the house, and you're going to bring Muriel out here. Coach, she shouldn't be moved now, so you do as I say.
Perhaps we had better. Come, Mr.
All right. Yeah, just a second.
Yes, monsieur.
I'm asking you this as a friend. Isn't there anything that can be done? Any way she can be saved? You see, I love her.
I know, monsieur. But you know what is written. An eye for an eye. A tooth for a tooth. A life for a life.
You mean Cimarron? But she didn't have anything to do with that.
No, monsieur. That is why I think she will recover. Now that what has to be done has been done.
Muriel, darling, are you all right?
Yes, Helen, I just feel terribly tired and weak. Is it... What happened?
You don't remember?
Oh, the last thing I remember was John going down to the native quarter and you going after him. Where is John?
He's outside getting the car. She'd never have brought you down here with him. He's going to take you away.
Away? Oh, Alan, no.
After all, he is your husband.
I don't care. I hate him. I hate him.
Madame was not alone in hating him. And, well, I do not think she need worry about him anymore.
What do you mean?
Somehow, I have the feeling that... Listen.
Hey there, Muriel. We'll go. Come on, Pierre. There's his car, but where's he? There he is.
Yes, monsieur.
John, what happened? Oh. Good Lord, he's dead.
Yes, monsieur.
What killed him?
Look there, monsieur. Crawling back into the jungle.
A bushland. The same one that... It can't be the same one. He shot it.
Perhaps it is the mate of the one who shot.
Wait. There's only one way the snake could have bitten him. If it was in the car. How could it get there? Yeah. You did.
I? No, monsieur. The egg in Cimarron's hand. The egg with his life in it. Have you forgotten that he broke that himself?
How do you believe in voodoo? You don't? Oh, now. Come here. Come here a little closer. I'll whisper something in your ear. Neither do I.
And let me whisper this in your ear, folks. There are just 15 shopping days until Christmas, full of rush, hurry, and crowd. About all you can do is face things armed with a good disposition. So don't let irregularity get you down. Get after that logy, cross, irritable feeling with Carter's Little Liver Pills. Let them wake up the flow of one of your most important digestive juices and help turn those 15 shopping days into 15 topping days, full of the glorious, glad to be alive feeling that goes with regularity. Remember the name, Carter's Little Liver Pills. Yes, and remember this, too. Christmas comes but once a year. But year-round, Carter's Little Liver Pills can be the best friend to your sunny disposition.
Well, this is Raymond, your host again, getting ready to close that squeaking door to the inner sanctum until the same time next week. And don't forget, there's safety in numbers, so be sure to have all your friends listen with you. Remember, all names of characters used on the Inner Sanctum Mystery broadcast are entirely fictitious. Now, if you should happen to get into an argument with anyone about whether the dead come back from the grave, about ghosts without horns, black magic, and conjuring, whatnot, remember the old saying, voodoo unto others, and you would have them voodoo to you. Have you read this month's Inner Sanctum Mystery novel, Trial by Fury, by Craig Rice? It's on sale at your favorite bookstore. Good night. Sweet dreams.
Listeners, be on guard. Don't let it sneak up on you like a thief in the night. What is it? Listen to this report from the Harris home as Mrs. Harris says to her maid.
Hannah, I'll never give another party. I'm going straight to bed. Oh, before dinner, ma'am. I'm exhausted. All those chatty, noisy women depress me so. I wouldn't be too quick to blame the guests, ma'am. You've been kind of edgy and cross all week. Not like yourself at all. You're right, Hannah. I'm sorry. Oh, I know how it is. And when I get to feeling that way, I know it's time to try Carter's Little Liver Pills.
Right. Then when you don't feel good, try Carter's Little Liver Pills. They do the work of calomel, but have no calomel in them. For they are simple pills made of vegetable drugs. They wake up the flow of one of our most vital digestive juices. When this vital juice flows at the rate of 2 pints a day, it helps to digest our food and bring back the glorious feeling that goes with regularity. Then most folks feel like happy days are here again. But be sure you get the genuine Carter's Little Liver Pills. 25 cents at all drugstores. This is the Blue Network of the National Broadcasting Company.
Inner Sanctum Mysteries, starring Ann Seymour and Myron McCormick. Brought to you by the makers of Carter's Little Liver Pills, the best friend to your sunny disposition. Good evening, friends. Welcome. Welcome to the Inner Sanctum. This is Raymond, your host, teller of strange tales. Come in, if you dare. Now, before we begin, a word to those of you who don't frighten easily. It'll be no disgrace if before we're finished you find yourself trembling against your will. Inner Sanctum Mysteries takes great pleasure in presenting 2 of America's best-known and best-loved radio artists, Miss Ann Seymour and Mr. Myron McCormick. Tonight, these 2 favorites of the air lanes co-star in The Man from Yesterday, an original radio mystery drama by Milton Geiger, brought to you by the makers of Carter's Little Liver Pills, the laxative with the 2-way action. For over 60 years, everybody has known that the name Carter's Little Liver Pills
means gentle and efficient help whenever a laxative is needed. Yes, and they know, too, that Carter's Little Liver Pills bring added relief by waking up the flow of a very important digestive juice. So take advantage of this two-way action and ask for Carter's Little Liver Pills.
Do you like to have your hair stand on end? You like to feel your blood run cold? Of course you do. Come along with me, then, to the jungle. Still and hot, weirdly yellow in the strange light of the tropic moon. In a clearing, the African natives of Dr. Robert Rand's museum party sway to the slow throb of their drums. A few hundred yards off in the thick bush, a monstrous humpbacked shape drops silently from the trees, moves swiftly across the shadowed jungle floor. Suddenly the earth gives way under the dark, crouching monster's feet. He struggles wildly a moment and falls, disappearing into the earth.
Wanaran! Quick! Come quick! Ngagi! Come quick! Eh? What's up, Sangala?
Is something wrong, Sangala?
Wana, you come fast. Bring big gun.
Oh, what is it?
Ngagi.
Gorilla? Where?
Old man gorilla. He fallen trap.
Oh, you shouldn't go, Bob. Your fever...
Where is he? Where is the gorilla?
Sangala, show you. Bring big gun. You follow me.
Can you see him down there, Bob?
And I see him. What a fellow. What a prize he'd be for Professor Converse at the museum. A full-grown gorilla. Ruth, we've got to get this fellow home, alive.
Oh, Bob, it's dangerous. You're ill. Must you?
Converse would never forgive me if I didn't.
Bob.
What is it?
The gorilla hasn't made a sound for some time now.
That's right. Turn the flashlight down there, will you, Ruth? That's very strange.
Is he hurt?
No. But look at him. See how he stares up at me.
Yes. And such steady, knowing, intelligent eyes. Almost human.
Yes. Gazing so steadily into my own. Unflinching. Unafraid. And puzzled. As though he's seen me before. As though he recognizes me. Is trying to remember me from somewhere. Sometime. All right. Easy, man. All the way.
Ah, it's exciting, isn't it?
Nerve-wracking, moving a great ape from where he obviously belongs to where he obviously doesn't. All right, hold it, man. Keep the cage from swinging as it comes down to deck level. All right. Lower away. Easy there now. All right. Good. That does it, man. Now cast away the lowering chains and begin closing the hatch. We'll be right up.
You tired, Bob?
A little. But it's a relief to have Ngaji safely stowed away down here.
Ngaji. It's a musical name, isn't it?
Means gorilla. Well, nothing to do but keep him safe in his cage, keep him from catching cold, and feed him wild carrots and parsley. If it were for anyone but Professor Converse, I'd chuck it all right now. Sorry I started it. I don't like him, Gaji.
Oh, he's a gentleman and a scholar.
Don't talk playful nonsense about him, Ruth. He's a killer.
He is not. I happen to know.
What do you mean you happen to know? Have you been around his cage again lately?
Well, I've been teaching him a few simple tricks, if that's what you mean.
What do you call a simple trick?
Well, for example, shaking hands with a lady.
Ruth, you haven't.
I have, and is my arm torn from its socket? It is not.
Ruth, don't you understand? You can't make friends with a gorilla. You can't compromise with the jungle. Gadji is clever and he's dangerous. He'll watch with those beady little eyes of his. He'll wait with that tricky little brain of his. Until his time comes. Now, don't give him his chance, Ruth.
Oh, you're not well, Bob. And so you magnify the dangers and the menace of the jungle and all that bookish stuff. All out of proportion to... Well, what's the matter?
Look at him. He's been watching me all the time. See how he stares at me? Never batting an eye. Never moving a hair. Watching me. Matching my gaze, stare for stare.
Oh, come out of it, Bob.
Been like this from the moment we captured him. Ruth, that abysmal brute knows something.
Darling, this stuffy ship's hold is getting you. Let's go and feed some quinine, huh?
Very well.
What'll I do with Ngaji back home?
That's Professor Converse's problem, and he's welcome. Up the ladder with you.
Bye.
All right, men, batten her down.
Bye-bye, Ngaji. So long, old man. Be good.
Hey, from before. When? Where? Hey! I am Ngaji, King of the Jungle!
No, Ngaji. The other hand. That's it. That's it. Ah, good fellow. Now, the other hand. Take my left hand now. The left. That's it. Oh, careful now. Don't squeeze so hard. Hey, Butch, take it easy. No. Mustn't pull it. Stop pulling, do you hear? Ngaji. That's better. Now let go of the lady's hand. That's it. Now then, how about some exercise? Think you could walk around the hold here with a distinguished dame on your arm? Yeah, let's see how this chain and iron pin work on this door. They think you can't be trained, but I know you can. Oh, this is easy. Oh, have this iron pin up in just a minute. Oh, just be patient, old fellow. Oh, here it comes. Oh. Well, better luck next time.
Ruth, you down there? Ruth!
Coming, Bob. We're just having a word with Ngaji.
Well, hurry. We've got little old New York on our horizon, and I'm quite glad. That's very kind of you, Professor Converse, putting Ruth and me up at the museum like this.
Not at all. A plenty of room. Besides, I want to keep an eye on that fever of yours, because you won't.
Well, nevertheless, Professor, we won't impose on your hospitality a moment more than it takes us to get settled again here in America.
Here. Here's another door. After you, Rand.
Thank you.
This old wing is out of use, but it still has electricity. And what's more important, heat. Till the zoo can build proper quarters for Ngaji, we'd better keep him in here where the temperature is even.
I've been thinking, Professor. These oak doors wouldn't be any problem at all to Ngaji if he happened to get on the loose.
True. The door closing off this old wing from the new building is really made of iron.
I see.
So, unless your gorillas of the armor-piercing variety, it's pretty safe. Here's next to the last door. This used to be our dinosaur room.
A huge room.
Well, here we are. Royal Suite itself.
Ruth, what are you doing in here?
I'm talking to Ngaji. Hello, Professor.
I shouldn't become too familiar with Ngaji, Mrs. Rand.
Oh, he's quite gentle. You know what he does now?
He takes the rings off my fingers and then gives them back.
Takes the rings off your fingers. Ruth, come on, let's get out of here.
All right. You're rougher than a 500-pound ape. He's a real gentleman.
Look at him. Look how he presses his face between the bars. To get a closer look at me. And it's been like that. By George, I'll give him a good look at me.
Don't get too close, Rand. Now, careful.
Oh, he doesn't know you well, Bob. Bob!
There, you ugly brute. Take a look. Take a good, long look. Well, what do you see? All right, he missed me.
Could have shattered your skull with that blow, Rand.
But it's only because he doesn't know you, Bob.
He does know me. He looked into my face, and he saw something. What did he see?
What do you think he saw? Well, I'm no fortune teller. I'm only Raymond, your host here in the inner sanctum. But I can tell you he must have seen something. But what was it? That's the big question. Yes, and when that logy, dull, sluggish feeling tells us that a laxative may be needed, the big question is, what laxative will do you the most good? Lots of folks have answered the question successfully by taking Carter's Little Liver Pills. Why? Because Carter's Little Liver Pills offer help in these two effective ways. One, they help relieve irregularity in an efficient, thorough, yet gentle manner. Two, usually within a half hour after taking them, Carter's Little Liver Pills wake up the flow of a very important digestive juice. It's this vital juice that helps tone up a lazy, sluggish digestive system so that folks can lose their grouch and feel better. You better keep that in mind, friends. And next time, remember Carter's Little Liver Pills. The laxative that helps in more ways than one. All right. Do you still want to know what the man from yesterday saw when he looked into Rand's face? You'll be sorry, but you asked for it. So let's go into Ngaji's cage with him now, as he listens to a strange, mysterious voice.
Ngaji, Lord of the Jungle, do you hear me? Do you hear, Ngaji? Do you hear the jungle speak?
Ngaji, I am Ngaji.
I am the jungle.
Jungle.
You looked into the man-creature's pale eyes. Do you remember now? Do you remember that other Ngaji 1,000 million moons ago, before the pale man-creature walked the earth?
Man, more, wait.
Do you remember, Ngaji?
Remember.
You fought with him in the jungle, fought for the beautiful she. He conquered. How you hated him.
Hey.
He was mighty, and he was different from the others. When the others swept through the trees, that other one ran, swift as the wind, on the ground. Remember.
Remember. Hey.
You fought, and you died. That other one who was different stood triumphant in the clearing, his neck half bitten through, victorious. He who would one day be a man.
Man.
Your conqueror then, your captor now.
Hate, man.
Where is your strength, O Ngaji, that this same other one conquers you again, as he did 1,000 million moons ago?
I am strong. I am Ngaji.
Yet the weak one wins. Here.
Kill.
Come in, Rand. Come in.
Good evening, Professor. So you know it was me.
Of course. Well,
That's exactly why I'm here, Professor. It's getting to be a habit around here. There's a knocking. It must be that feverish fool Rand.
come now. We want you here.
There's such a thing as wearing out your welcome.
You paid 1,000 times by bringing us back that magnificent gorilla.
I don't consider that adequate compensation. Professor, I might as well tell you. I'm sorry I ever blundered over the brute.
He's just getting here again. Go to bed and take
No,
some...
no. I'm afraid of him, Gadji. Not in the physical sense. I could cope with his power, his force. But he's changed. I can't cope with what he's become. It infuriates and humiliates me that gorilla has something on me. Has me at some disadvantage that I don't understand. It's gotten under my skin. You remember when he struck at me 3 weeks ago?
Do I remember? Of course I do.
He changed after that. When he looks at me now, he isn't puzzled. He isn't searching his memory for some clue to me anymore. He knows. He knows who I am and what I mean to him. Whatever it is, he hates me. Hates me with a dreadful, consuming energy.
I don't question that, Rand. It's plain enough.
Have you hear? He never had those tempers. Now something is tormenting him into a frenzy of hatred and defiance. Something in that secret brain of his.
You'd better calm him down before he dashes out that secret vein of his. Come on, Rand. We'll talk later. Who did you say was afraid of whom?
He's quiet, yes. But look at those eyes. Where have you seen such hatred?
Or such tremendous living power?
Yes. You've got to admire it at first. You almost think for a moment that he represents the super race. That big, black-haired, purebred gorillas are the dominating people. And on the basis of sheer power with a certain amount of intelligence and ruthlessness, you think he ought to rule. Then you stop to think. You remember. Yes, he's pure black gorilla and powerful. But after all, he's just a gorilla.
Oh, I thought I heard him guard you fighting in here.
Well, you did. Your precious beast was having a tantrum. You'd catch cold running about barefooted like that, and that wouldn't do. Because Engadji might catch it from you, and that would be the end of Engadji. On second thought, perhaps you'd better run around barefooted.
But, Bob, he's worth a fortune.
Well, so are you. So run along back to bed. Professor Converse and I have a chess game to play. Hey, Professor?
Engadji. Hi, old fella. I brought you bananas. Here. No, I haven't got any more. What? Oh, my hand. Which one? This? Oh, the left. Sure, pal. Take it easy, though. It breaks. That's a good boy. Oh, no. No, Engadji. Give me back the rings. Come on. Hand over the jewels. I'll pick them up, Engadji. Engadji! All right. I'll get them myself. But you won't hear the end of it. I'll show you. You've eaten your last banana for a month, and don't you forget it. Engadji! What's the matter? Why don't you know me? Engadji, stay back! Stay back!
Your move, Professor.
Hey, Scott, it's loose. There's a light in the wing. Look.
He's loose. The brute's loose.
Wait a minute, Rand. Here. Take my revolver. I'll come along.
Never mind. Stay here. Call for help. I can't hold him with just a revolver. Hurry!
Bob, help me, Bob! open the door fast for him. I could just get in here and bar the door before he realized he was me.
Can you walk, darling?
No. I ran to the door, but I hurt my foot, boy. I can't stand, Bob.
Put your arm around that shoulder. Hurry. He's breaking through.
I let him escape.
That's it, darling. Now hold tight.
Oh, you're yourself. You can't carry me too, Bob.
Hobble on one foot now. Up. Come on now. All right, darling, quick. The next room. Quick, in here. Now, the next room. We've got to hold him off, blow him up. Come on, Ruth. Courage, darling.
I can't. I'm holding you back. Oh, leave me. Leave me with a gun. I can shoot. Please. Please. No.
In here. I'll try him. I got him. Quick now before he recovers.
Bob, you can't go on with me.
Just one more door. The last door. All right. Can't iron. Keep moving. Try to help him. Can you?
I'm trying.
A little further. Just a little further. Here.
Oh, Bob. What's the matter?
Ruth. It's locked. From outside, it's automatic.
Bob, but the professor.
I don't know. He's gone for help.
Oh.
Steady, girl. Steady.
Oh, the lights have... They hit the fuse box. We shut out the lights.
Listen.
He's dead. I got the shot in my face. He's dead.
Quiet. No. He's alive. He's stalking us in the dark.
How many bullets?
3.
Bob, one more for Ngaji, and it don't kill him.
Quiet. This way. Keep moving.
Now, Bob. He's against the window. Bob, the moon. The moon's coming out. Find us.
We'll see him, too. And I've got 2 shots left. Perhaps.
The moon. He sees us.
Steady. Rand, where are you? Rand! Light your light over here, Professor. Rand.
Oh, thank heaven. You all right? Did you? Oh, my George. You did.
Point blank range. My last 2 shots. Yes.
In truth?
She's a broken ankle. She fainted. She'll be all right, though. Oh. Well, Professor?
That's the end of Ngaji, eh?
Is it, Professor?
You're certainly dead.
Again.
Again?
Have you ever had the feeling that something that has just happened has happened before, somewhere, a long time ago?
A very familiar psychological phenomenon. What about it?
I feel that all this has happened before.
When?
And that it will happen again. I only wonder when, and where, and who will be the victor then.
Yeah, let me look at you. Oh, yes. You're hurt. There are the marks of teeth on your neck.
An unusual birthmark. It's occurred in my family for generations. Shows up when we become excited. Is it strange, Professor?
All right, friends. You can come out from under your table. Everything's all right now. Ngaji is dead, and we're safe for another 10,000 years. Good. Oh, Mr. Hurley, Ngaji was only imaginary, so don't let him worry you.
No, you're right, Raymond.
especially when real things can be so much more troublesome.
We mean things like an irritable, sour, out-of-sorts feeling that so often warns us a laxative is needed?
Yes, and that's why folks have been taking Carter's Little Liver Pills for years. They know the name stands for dependable, gentle relief. Yes, and besides, folks know that usually within a half hour, Carter's Little Liver Pills will wake up the flow of a very essential digestive juice. This juice is all important to normal, proper digestion. So why don't you take advantage of this time-tested two-way action and ask for Carter's Little Liver Pills?
Well, friends, it's time to close that squeaking door to the inner sanctum until the same time next week. Invite all your friends to be here with you. It'll give you courage. There's safety in numbers. Well, next week, our ghost artist, pardon me, guest artist, comes with the highest credentials. He was on the horror roll at Spirit School. Fine student. And for anyone who'd like a snap course in exciting mystery reading, let me suggest this month's Inner Sanctum novel, The Murder of a Novelist, by Sally Wood. It's on sale at your favorite bookstore. Now, friends, here's an urgent, serious thought. Remember the Red Cross. It needs your help now more than ever. And also remember you are giving both for Christmas and for America. And your presents are United States defense bonds and stamps. Buy all you can afford today. Well, good night. Pleasant dreams, huh?
Attention, armchair detectives. One way to solve a puzzling case is to keep your eyes and ears open. What valuable tip would you get from this conversation?
I ought to have been home 2 hours ago.
Gotta get this order out, Tom. It's important.
But I've stayed 3 nights this week.
Well, so's everyone else. Come on, Tom. These days, grouching's out.
But you fellas don't feel as sunk and low down and out of sorts as I have lately.
I can't afford to. There's too much work to be done. So when you get the feeling slowed up and sluggish, why not do something about it?
Yeah? What do you suggest?
Try Carter's Little Liver Pills.
Right. And when you don't feel good, try Carter's Little Liver Pills. They do the work of calomel, but have no calomel in them. For they are simple pills made of vegetable drugs. They wake up the flow of one of our most vital digestive juices. When this vital juice flows at the rate of about 2 pints a day, it helps to digest our food and bring back the glorious feeling that goes with regularity. Then most folks feel like happy days are here again. But be sure you get the genuine Carter's Little Liver Pills. 25 cents at all drugstores.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Good evening, Creep. Tonight, your Mystery Playhouse presents Inner Sanctum. Mr. Host, the door.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum. This is your host to welcome you through the squeaking door. What's that? You're scared. Don't be frightened. Why, we've been beating our brains out to make things pleasant for you. Yes, take that fellow lying on the floor. Now, that's a nice guy, really solicitous. He put a bullet through his head because he didn't want you to be bored. Oh, you don't like that pretty lady hanging from the chandelier? Well, we'll fix that. We'll cut her down and nail her to the wall. Then she'll be a pin-up girl. And now, friends, do whatever it is that you do when fear fastens cold fingers on your spine. A cigarette, perhaps, or a handkerchief to twist? Anything to brace you against tonight's tale of horror. It's an original radio play written especially for Inner Sanctum by Michael Sklar and called death is a double-crosser. Our star tonight is Lawson Zerbe, who plays the part of Harry Smith, murderer.
I looked at the blood-splattered mallet, still gripped in my hand. Then down at Marie's body. It was like coming out of a bad dream, only to go into a nightmare. Instead of using a mallet to cut the King Midas diamond, I had used it to murder my wife. And the big diamond was still in the vise, still sparkling in the light of the work lamp, still tormenting me with the glow of its inner fires. The thing was evil. Anderson had warned me.
Does the diamond frighten you, Harry? No wonder. The story of great diamonds is a history of intrigue, violence, murder.
Anderson was right. My luck had been all bad ever since I came to his house. It was one of those old New York brownstones, big enough for several families, but only 2 people were living there when I came. Anderson and my wife. Marie was working as his housekeeper, and she gave me the layout.
He's about 70 years old, Harry. He lives all alone here. It's perfect for you.
No family?
No wife, no children, no friends. He never goes out except on business, and no one ever comes to see him.
Sounds good to me, Marie.
Good. It's perfect. I'll tell him you just got out of the army. He won't ask questions. He'll never find out you were in prison.
What does he do for a living?
He's a diamond cutter.
A diamond cutter? You don't say.
He was famous once.
Diamonds?
He doesn't cut little ones, Harry. Only the great big diamonds worth thousands of dollars.
I moved in with Marie, and for a while everything was quiet. I didn't mind the quiet after that 5-year forgery rap in Sing Sing. Then one day the peace and quiet ended. I met old Anderson on the steps going down to the street.
Good morning, Harry.
Oh, hello, Mr. Anderson. Hey, you look all excited. Some good news come your way?
I hope so, Harry. Of course, I can well afford to be idle, but it would be pleasant to work again. And it's nice to know that people still remember you.
Is it a job?
Wonderful job. If I get the assignment. Well, I'm sure I'll get it. He couldn't give it to anyone else.
A diamond?
One of the largest diamonds in the world. The King Midas stone, discovered last year in the Kimberley Fields. Was purchased recently by Johnson, a multimillionaire. I'm on my way to his home to discuss the cutting.
Well, good luck. I sure hope you get the job, Mr. Anderson. The next afternoon, Anderson invited me up to his workroom. On the bench was a square of black velvet covered by a white cloth. Something big was underneath that cloth. Anderson lifted it, and for the first time I saw the King Midas diamond.
What do you think of it, Harry?
For a second, I couldn't talk. The blood was pumping too fast.
215 carats. When I'm finished cutting, it'll be reduced to 125.
How much will it be worth?
Diamond like that? You could get $100,000. And no questions asked.
It's funny. It's kind of oily on the surface, but down inside it gleams like it's on fire.
Does it frighten you?
Yeah. Stone like that does things to me.
The story of great diamonds is a history of intrigue, violence, murder.
You said something about cutting it.
I'd have to study the King Midas until every detail of the task is clear in my mind. Then just a few light blows of the mallet on the chisel, and the result will be a flawless diamond.
How long will it take?
Oh, I should say about 2 months, Harry.
I went downstairs to Marie. One look at me, and she knew something had happened. I told her my plan.
If they catch you, they'll send you back to jail.
They won't catch me. I've got it all figured out. This is our chance. He told me himself that the diamond will be worth $100,000 when he's finished.
$100,000?
Yeah. No more pots and pans and scrubbing floors. No more passing phony checks. We'll be set for life, Marie.
How are you going to go about it?
I'll wait until he's finished cutting the diamond.
How will you know when he's finished? You'd have to know the exact time. If you waited too long, he might turn it over to the owner, Mr. Johnson. Then where would you be?
Don't worry. I've got that figured out, too.
So you want to become a diamond cutter, Harry?
If you'll teach me the work, Mr. Anderson, I promise it won't be any bother. All I want to do is watch you while you go about cutting the King Midas.
Diamond cutters aren't made overnight. It takes a great deal of time. I spent 50 years learning the craft.
Oh, please, Mr. Anderson, you don't know what this means to me.
Yeah? All right, Harry. I'll let you watch me as I work.
So that's how it began. Every day for 2 months, I went upstairs and watched Anderson as he studied the King Midas diamond.
Cleavage must take place along planes parallel to the octahedron bases of the crystal.
Step by step, he explained the job, how he would split it, where he would place the notches so that the diamond would split along the exact lines he wanted. He went over every detail again and again and again. Finally, he cut the notches for the splitting. Slowly, carefully. And then he placed the diamond in the vise. He got out the chisel and the mallet and placed them on the workbench. It was like a wedding ceremony. I was on fire. I couldn't wait.
Just a few taps with the mallet, and it's done.
Are you going to do it now?
No, Harry. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. He kept putting it off. Then I realized what it was. He was scared. He couldn't trust his unsteady hands. It hit me like a ton of brick. He was never going to cut that diamond.
You're so smart. What are you going to do now?
I'm going to cut the diamond myself.
You?
Yeah, me. I know how to do it. It's all set. There's nothing to it.
But what about Anderson?
We don't need Anderson anymore.
You mean...
Yeah.
But that's murder.
So it's murder. They'll never pin it on us. I've figured out a way to do it without leaving any trace behind. We went upstairs. Anderson was standing where I left him at the workbench. He was so lost in thought that he didn't hear us come in.
He isn't looking. Get it over with.
All right.
Let go of me.
I don't like to do this, Mr. Anderson, honest.
Marie, stop it.
It's no use, Mr. Anderson.
I don't. Please.
He begged for mercy. He fought back, but it was useless. I had a firm grip on his neck with both hands, and he was an old man. I squeezed tighter and tighter till his voice was cut off. His body stopped thrashing around. I held him like that a couple of seconds more for good measure.
You can let go of him now. He's dead, Harry.
Dear. Imagine that. cold-blooded murder. Killing a harmless old man like Mr. Anderson, choking him to death. Doesn't that slay you? And all because of a piece of ice. Why, it makes me hot under the collar. And that cool cucumber, Harry Smith. I'll bet he gets so hot that he'll burn before he's through. Well, friends, let's get back to Harry Smith and his charming wife. Such nice people. They killed old Anderson, the diamond cutter, to steal a piece of ice worth $100,000. And unless they have a lot of another kind of ice handy, they'll have to do something fast to get rid of the body.
We carried Anderson's body down to the cellar and broke open the brick wall. Placing the old man's body behind it, we bricked it up again. Then we went through my plan. I wrote a suicide note.
To whom it may concern, I, Olaf Anderson, because I failed in the task of cutting the King Midas diamond, have decided to take my life. When this note is found, I will be dead.
It was easy for me, a professional forger, to fake the suicide note in Anderson's handwriting. I had him say he was going to end it all in the river and that he was taking the diamond with him to his death. And that night, Marie and I took a walk across the footpath over the Hudson River Bridge. When we reached the middle,
You got the suicide note in Anderson's overcoat pocket?
Yeah.
No cars coming from either direction. Now's a good time to drop it.
There. The cops will find the coat and figure that he took it off before he climbed the rail and jumped.
All right. Come on, hurry. Let's get away from here.
We went home. Marie telephoned police headquarters and asked for the Missing Persons Bureau.
Hello? I want to report a missing person. It's the man I work for, Olaf Anderson. Yes, Anderson. I'm his housekeeper. And I'm worried because it's so late and he hasn't come home. My name? Mrs. Harry Smith.
We went to bed. I guess we would hear from the police the next morning, and I was right.
Yes, what is it?
Megan is the name, lady. Detective Joe Megan, Missing Persons Bureau.
Oh, yes, come in.
Are you the party who reported a man named Olaf Anderson missing?
Yes, did you...
Did we find him? I think so. I'd like you folks to come down to the morgue with me.
The morgue?
What for?
We've got a body down there. Body of an old man that fits the description of Anderson. It's fished out of the Hudson River early this morning. You might be able to identify it. Well, yeah, folks. Before I lift the sheet on this slab, I ought to warn you. This stiff ain't exactly pretty.
We can stand a little shock, Megan.
Well, I just thought the lady...
I'm all right.
Okay, then. Well? You recognize him?
His face, it's gone like he went through a meat chopper.
Most of his clothes were gone, too, when we got him. Poor guy must have got caught in the propeller of a passing ship.
Marie, it's Mr. Anderson.
Harry.
Don't you recognize the pants? They're from that old suit he always used to wear.
Oh, yes. Yes, you're right.
So you can identify him, eh?
I'm sure that's Mr. Anderson.
Well, I guess that closes the case. Suicide. Body recovered. And a great big hunk of diamond at the bottom of the Hudson River.
It was a lucky break for us. We were in the clear, and the King Midas diamond was ours. We went back to the house. I took the diamond up to the workroom and I placed it in a vise. I got out the mallet and the chisel. I thought it would be easy to cut the stone until I tried.
Well, what are you waiting for?
My hand is shaking. I'm kind of nervous. Things have been coming too fast. Let's put this off until tomorrow. I know I said I'd do it tonight, but...
But what?
I don't feel so well tonight, Marie.
You're lying. How long are you going to keep this up?
I take it easy.
You said you knew how to do it.
I do.
Well, then cut it. For heaven's sakes, get it over with.
Don't rush me. If I make a mistake, it'll cost us $100,000.
You've been putting it off for 3 days now, Harry. First this and then that. There's always something. You've always got a reason for not cutting that diamond.
Now, listen, Marie, I've got to be careful. Knowing how to cut the diamond is one thing. Doing it is another.
You're scared. That's what's the matter with you.
Don't say that.
You're frightened. Look at your hands. See how they shake. Well, you can hardly hold the mallet and chisel. You're as bad as Anderson was.
She was right. My hands were shaky, just like Anderson's before I killed him. I tried for control. I told myself the diamond was nothing but a chunk of carbon crystal. I placed the chisel against the stone. I raised the mallet. But I couldn't bring it down.
Now what are you waiting for?
I don't know how hard to strike.
A gentle blow. That's what you said Anderson told you.
I can't do it.
You can't do it. Of course you can. Don't be a stupid fool. There's nothing to it.
She went wild. She began to shake my arm and scream at me. But her voice seemed to come from a distance. I kept staring at that diamond as though I were hypnotized. My throat was dry as dust. I was dizzy. Pinpoints of fire shot across my eyes. The diamond was doing things to me that was driving Marie crazy. Suddenly, I couldn't stand it. Her voice snapped something in my mind.
You fool, you stupid idiot. Don't stand there like a silly fool.
Shut up.
Don't you dare shout at me.
Shut up. I've had all I can take from you.
Why, of all the nerve, you... Harry, put down that mallet. Stay away from me. I didn't mean those things I said. Take as much time as you like. Don't. Harry!
Marie. I'm sorry. I lost my head. Marie, say something. He's dead. I killed her. I took her body down to the cellar, reopened the wall, placed her body with Anderson's. I'd hardly finished putting the bricks back into place when the front doorbell rang. I cleaned my hands, went upstairs, and opened it.
Hello, Smith.
It was Megan, the detective. He came in, looked around suspiciously, and closed the door behind him.
What's the matter with you, Smith?
Me?
Yeah, you. You look sick.
Me sick? I never felt better in my life.
It's the light. Is your wife at home?
No, she isn't.
Expect her home soon?
Why, no. No, she went to Baltimore to visit her mother.
Left kind of suddenly, didn't she?
What are you driving at, Megan?
Take the chip off your shoulder. Nobody's picking on you. Yet.
What do you mean?
This Anderson suicide.
You said the case was closed.
It's closed until this morning. Now there's a couple of angles in the case that don't make sense. I'm not even sure the old guy we pulled out of the river is Anderson.
But I identified him.
Sure you did. Yesterday, a guy named Keeler showed up at the morgue and swore that same body was his father.
It must be Anderson. The suicide note.
Suicide note said Anderson was killing himself because he made a mistake and ruined the King Midas diamond.
Dad, don't you see?
But Anderson never got the job of cutting that diamond.
He what? Say that again.
Anderson never was commissioned to cut the King Midas diamond. How do you like that?
It can't be. He told me himself.
I got that information straight from the owner, Mr. Johnson.
I don't believe it.
Johnson was out of town until this morning. I got in touch with him, making a routine check on the facts. He told me he never commissioned Anderson to cut the stone. Said Anderson was too old and unreliable to be trusted with the job.
But I saw the diamond. Saw it on Anderson's workbench.
The diamond you saw must have been a phony.
A diamond. Still upstairs in the workroom. Still waiting to be cut. I couldn't believe it was a phony. I wouldn't believe it. It had to be the King Midas. Megan was getting more and more suspicious. I had to act fast before he got down to the cellar and noticed the fresh plaster on the wall. I had to make sure about the diamond. I'd gone too far now to back out. I hit Megan on the head with an andiron. He was unconscious. I dragged his body into the closet and locked the door. Upstairs in the workroom, I grabbed up the chisel mallet. No time to think now, no time to be frightened. I had to know if that diamond was the King Midas. I put the edge of the chisel to one of the cleaving grooves and struck with the mallet. It chips like glass. Yeah. It is glass. Megan was right. I went through all this for nothing. The whole thing was clear now. Anderson had lied to me. He had lied even to himself. Yeah, that was it. He had been unwilling to admit even to himself that he was no longer good enough to be trusted to cut the King Midas diamond. He was nuts. And he made up that crazy story. And I swallowed it. There was one thing left to do. I had to get away. As far away as possible and as fast as I could. I ran to the stairs.
Going somewhere, Smith?
Megan.
Hoist your hands. Get him a pile. Now, come on down here. That's close enough.
How'd you get out of the closet?
No trick at all to force that door when I recovered from the crack on the head you gave me. That sock did something for me, Smith. You know, it gave me a brand new angle on this case.
A new angle?
Yeah. How's this? You thought Anderson had the King Midas diamond. So you killed him for it and planted that phony suicide note on the bridge. You know, we almost fell for it.
No,
You killed Anderson. I wouldn't be at all surprised if you murdered your wife. And all for a phony 5 and 10 cent store diamond.
Poor Harry Smith. What a life. A Smith caught between the hammer and the anvil. You know, he never should have lost his head and murdered his wife. No, because now it looks as though he's going to have to lose the rest of him. Yes, right now, Harry is really harried. And when the state executioner gets him, he'll be fit to be tied in a noose.
Well, thank you, Mr. Host, for an enjoyable performance in our mystery theater. This is Hunter Galloway saying good night. Sleep tight.
Lipton Tea and Lipton Soups present Inner Sanctum Mysteries. Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum. This is your host, waiting to act as your guide through the squeaking door on a specially prepared travelogue. First, First, we'll take a little jaunt with jeopardy along the path of peril, where we'll prowl with panic until we take the left turn into Horror Highway, and thence via Terror Turnpike straight into the road to ruin.
I don't think I like your itinerary, Mr. Host. If you don't mind, I'd much rather take a shortcut to the Highway of Happiness via the kitchen.
And pray tell us, by what signpost shall we recognize your blithesome Highway of Happiness, Mary?
Well, you'll just know you're headed for pleasure when you take your first taste of swell Lipton tea. Because, what a world of contentment there is in every cupful. What flavor, what wide-awake flavor. No wonder the tea experts say there's only one word to describe Lipton's, and that's brisk. No wonder more folks enjoy Lipton's than any other brand of tea in the world. It's because Lipton tea never tastes dull, flat, or dreary. It's always lively and cheery. Yes, Lipton's is the world's favorite tea, and it will be your favorite, too, once you taste that brisk Lipton flavor. So be sure you try Lipton tea.
Listen now to the strange tale of a boy and his twin sister, and their dog, and the wreckers of Hurricane Cove. It's called Detour to Terror. An original radio play written especially for Inner Sanctum by Emil Teppelman. And here is Mason Adams as Jerry Watson to tell you the story himself.
I had a strange, uneasy feeling all evening after Linda left to drive to Hurricane Cove. Somehow I had a presentiment of danger. Linda and I were twins, and always, in some uncanny way, each of us had been able to sense when the other was in trouble. Tonight, the feeling was very strong. Butch sensed it, too. He was only a mongrel pup, but he was smart. I shouldn't have let Linda go alone, but she had insisted. She was a feature writer for the Manhattan Magazine, and she'd run across the trail of a story about an old family of wreckers who lived down by the shore near Hurricane Cove. The tale went that this family had made a living in the old days by placing false signals on the shore in order to lure ships onto the rocks and then loot them. It was this story that she'd gone to investigate. Unwilling to go to bed with that uneasy feeling lying heavy upon me, I dozed in the chair by the fire with Butch's whine in my ears. It must have been a dream, because I saw Linda's white face floating in a sort of haze. And then I saw the fear in her eyes as she called to me.
Jerry! Jerry, help me! Help me!
I came awake suddenly with a cold sweat in my face. Butch was on his haunches by the fireplace, nose in the air and howling as if for the dead. I felt myself trembling. Linda in danger. Somewhere out in that storm, Linda was calling to me for help. She needed me terribly. Come on, Butch, we're going after her. Within 20 minutes, I was speeding through the storm out along Highway 9. I remembered Linda's telling me just what route she'd take.
See, Jerry, I'll go out on 9 to here, and then turn off on the old shore road. It isn't used much anymore, but it's the shortest route to Hurricane Cove. And if I leave now, I should be there by midnight.
The mist lay heavy on the old shore road, and the rain drove against the windshield, and the swirling fog played strange tricks with my eyes. But I knew I was almost an hour behind Linda, and I had to make time. Now, don't worry, Butch. We'll catch up to her. We'll find her. If I could only go faster. It's fog. I can't see 20 feet ahead of... Hey! It's a red lantern on the road. What? It's a detour sign. Bridge ahead, washed out. Detour. What'll I do, Butch? How do I know what Linda did? Did she drive straight ahead or did she take the detour? I've got to know. I can't sit here waiting. We'll take the detour, Butch, and pray it's the right choice. isn't taking us anywhere, Butch. I don't think Linda came this way. Maybe she didn't see the detour sign back there. Drove into the washed-out bridge. Maybe that's what the danger was. No, she couldn't have missed that red lantern even in the fog. She must have turned off. She must have come this way. Hey! There's the car, Butch, stopped in the ditch and blocking the road. It's Linda's car. Come on, let's get to her quick. Gosh, it's coming down and... Never mind the lightning. Let's go. She's not in the car, Butch. I don't see her in the car. Oh, no, she's not in here. Linda! Linda! Where could she have gone, Butch? She was always scared of thunder and lightning. Linda! How can we look for her in the dark and the fog? What is it, Butch? What have you found over there? I'm coming, Butch. I'm coming. Where, Butch? Where, behind the tree? All right. Linda. She's not... Linda, open your eyes. It's Jerry, Linda. Linda, don't be scared, Linda. Everything's all right. It's me. It's Jerry. Oh, Linda.
Jerry.
Yeah.
Oh, thank heaven. Oh, Jerry, take me away from here.
Sure, kid. Come on. Here, I'll help you out. Come on. My car's over this way.
I must have fainted. I knew you'd come, Jerry. I had a feeling you would. I was afraid it might be too late.
Here, get in the car.
Yeah.
Come on in, Butch. Gosh, you're soaked to the skin, kid. What happened here?
Well, there was a man. He was hiding up there behind a tree. The headlights caught him when I got stalled in the ditch.
How'd you come to land in the ditch?
Well, there's a tree lying across the road. See, look over there. You can just see it in the headlights.
Oh, yeah. I see. Gosh, it's a big one. Must have been struck by the lightning.
That's what I thought at first. But when I got out to look at it, I saw that it wasn't struck by lightning.
What?
Jerry, that tree has been deliberately cut.
Linda, are you sure?
Sure I am. It's been cut by a saw. The minute I looked at it, I realized it wasn't any accident. Somebody meant to block this road.
Great Scott.
So I hurried back into the car, and I tried to turn around. I wanted to go back.
You couldn't have turned around anyway. This road is too narrow.
Yeah, well, I was too scared to realize that. I started backing up, and the rear wheels landed in the ditch. And it was just then that I saw the man. He was coming out from behind the tree, and he was all hunched up so I couldn't see his face. Then when the headlights struck him, he ducked back, and he disappeared. Well, I was afraid to stay in the car, so I jumped out, and I started to run. Then I could hear him coming after me. And I must have tripped, and my head struck something. And that's all I knew till you found me.
Are you sure it was a man you saw, kid?
Yeah, positive, Jerry.
I don't get it. What was the idea of blocking the road? Well, what's the matter, Bush?
He hears something. Look over there.
Someone running through the woods carrying something. I'm going after him.
Careful, Jerry. Look, Butch has that man by the trousers. Oh, he kicked Butch.
Hey, you don't have to kick my door.
Be careful.
Come on back here, you.
I'm coming with you.
Oh, it's no use. He ran away in the night. Are you all right, Butch?
Look, Jerry. Whoever he was, he dropped what he was carrying.
What is it?
Looks like a big board of some kind.
Here, I'll turn the flashlight on. What's a sign? Has lettering on it.
What's it say?
Well, it says... Great Scott.
What is it, Jerry?
It says, bridge ahead, washed out. Detour.
Jerry, this is the detour sign from the highway.
Yeah. They only put it up there to lure you onto this back road. Then they blocked the road with a tree. Kid, it looks like we're in some kind of a trap.
Now, what kind of a mess have we got these poor people into? Imagine finding that poor twin sister unconscious behind the tree. And it took Butch to find her, too. I wonder what kind of a tree it was. Oh, probably a dogwood tree. As you can always tell a dogwood tree by its bark.
There's poor Linda in all that trouble, and here you go, making puns.
I can't help it, Mary. That's my nature.
I ought to know it's your nature by now. And I ought to know, too, you can't change people. Take those of us who like to start each day off with piping hot Lipton tea. Why, nothing in the world could change us. In fact, breakfast just wouldn't be breakfast without Lipton. Lipton tea just seems to go with a bright bowl of gay yellow jonquils, a sunny checked gingham tablecloth, and, of course, the morning paper. Part of the reason is Lipton's deep amber color and tempting aroma. But the big reason breakfast wouldn't be right without Lipton's is Lipton's grand, brisk flavor. It's so lively and tingling with zip. Just a cup or two of Lipton's and your spirits catch on and your day's off to a bright start. Yes, breakfast time or any time is the right time to enjoy Lipton tea. So for real tea-drinking pleasure, ask your grocer tomorrow for brisk Lipton tea.
Well, let's get back to our story now and see what happens along that deadly detour. I have a hunch that Jerry and Linda are in for a lot of trouble. Trouble and twins, you know, never come singly.
We got back in my car, wet and shivering, Linda, Butch, and I. We tried to figure out what to do.
Don't you see, Jerry? This is the way those old-time wreckers used to work. They'd place false signals on the shore so that the ships would be lured onto the rocks.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that phony detour sign back
there? It was just like a false signal to a seaman. It lured us onto this back road. When they get good and ready, they'll come for us.
Maybe you're right, kid.
Well, Jerry, we can't just sit here and wait to be murdered.
Look, Linda, up there in the hill through the trees. See those lights? Looks like a big house.
Hey, maybe they've got a phone. We could call the police.
And maybe...
Maybe what, Jerry?
Nothing.
You think maybe they're the ones who lured us here?
We'll have to take the chance, Linda.
The ground here is so soft. Isn't it waiting to twine their arms around us and crush us?
Quit it, kid. You'll work. Yeah, someone playing the piano in the dark.
Oh, it sounds uncanny.
Come on, I'm going to ring the bell.
The piano stopped?
Yeah. I think I hear someone coming.
Still no lights. It gives me the creeps.
Someone's opening the door.
Good evening. Caught in the storm, man. Won't you come in?
Your lights, aren't they working?
How stupid of me. I'd forgotten. There. That better?
Yeah, yes, I can. I'm Jerry Watson. This is my sister, Linda. This is Butch.
How do you do? My name is Considine. Gregory Considine. And you're quite welcome, I assure you.
Mr. Considine, there's been a tree cut across the road down there.
Tree? Cut? You mean struck by lightning?
Well, I don't think so, sir. I think it was done deliberately. I'd like to use your phone to call the police.
I'm so sorry. The phone is out of order. Storm, you know. I'm sure you must be mistaken about the tree. You must be soaked through and through. Please, follow me into the library. I'll get you some dry clothes.
Jerry, did you see his eyes? He's blind.
That's why I was playing the piano in the dark.
Right in here, please. It's a nice crackling fire. You can warm up while I ring for my handyman. Matt will be here in a moment. I heard what you said to your brother, Miss Watson.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not at all. I meant quite well.
You live alone here, Mr. Considine?
Just my brother Vincent and I. Matt, of course. We seldom see strangers here. No one uses this old back road.
Mr. Considine, someone put a phony detour sign out on the main road.
Really? Sounds almost incredible. Ah, here's Matt.
You ring for me, Mr. Gregg?
Matt, this is Miss Watson and her brother, and Butch. They've been caught in the storm. I think there's some dry clothing in the west room.
Yes, Mr. Gregg. Yeah, this way, please.
Are you in there, Gregg? What have you done to those people?
Oh, dear. It's my brother Vincent. I'm afraid I'll have to ask a favor of you. Please overlook anything Vincent may say. He's, shall I say, a bit strange.
Oh, here you are. Well, introduce me to your friends, Gregg.
Go upstairs, Vincent.
Go upstairs, Vincent. Is that all you have to say to your brother? What are you going to do to these people? What are you planning for them?
Vincent.
You can't shut me up. Look here, mister. Young lady. Take a bit of advice from me. Don't stay in this house overnight, or you'll never live to see the morning. Get out, quick.
Matt, you know what to do.
No.
Yes, Mr. Gregg.
No, please, keep away from me, Matt. Keep away. I warn you, must get your sister out of it. No, there, let go of me, there. Hey, he knocked him out.
I regret that it was necessary, Mr. Watson. Vincent is difficult at times. Please pay no attention to what he said. I'm very sorry that you had to witness this painful scene. Matt, please carry Mr. Vincent upstairs and lock him in his room. I hope you like these rooms.
Yes, Doctor.
Yes, I'm sure we'll be comfortable, Mr. Considine.
They're adjoining rooms, as you see. And these doors bolt on the inside. I advise you to keep them locked all night.
We surely will.
Thank you for these dry clothes and for the tea.
You're quite welcome, I assure you. Now just try to get a good night's sleep. Everything will be all right in the morning.
Jerry, I'm scared.
So is Butch. And so am I.
What'll we do?
First thing to do is bolt the door.
He's blind. Yet he frightens me, Jerry. The way he ordered his brother knocked down. Jerry, there's something I've got to tell you.
What is it, Kid?
The name of that family of old-time wreckers. It's Considine.
You mean these are the people?
Their ancestors used to loot ships.
And now they're working on motorists. Where Vincent tried to warn.
Jerry, what are we going to do?
We've got to get out of here before they come up to finish us off. Take a look out the window.
Oh, it's pitch black out there.
Look, by the streak of lightning. Did you see?
Yes, I did. That man, that Matt, standing under the tree with a rifle.
We're stuck. No escape.
What's that?
Someone tapping against the wall.
There. Can you hear me?
Who is it?
It's Vincent. I'm in the room next door to you. It's locked on the outside. Can you get me out?
We'll be right there. Quiet, Butch.
Oh, Jerry, maybe there's a chance if Vincent will help us.
All right, kid.
Yeah.
No noise. Come on. Here, this is the door.
Look, it's bolted on the outside. We must keep them locked up all the time.
Well, here goes. Vincent.
Here I am. Don't make any noise. My brother has ears like a cat. And don't let him fool you. He may be blind, but he's more dangerous than any man who can see.
How are we going to get out of here? Matt's watching outside with a rifle.
Listen. The piano.
My brother is amusing himself in the dark. He always plays the piano when he has something on his mind.
Do you know any way for us to get out of here?
Well, there's only a slim chance. Now listen to me carefully. The only chance is to get out the back way. But you have to pass the open living room door downstairs. And Greg is in there at the piano.
What do we do?
Oh, you wait here. I'll go down first. See if they've left the cellar door unlocked. I'll come back for you. Please, don't move until I return.
Be careful.
Don't worry. I will.
Jerry, what'll happen if Greg hears him?
Greg will probably call Matt and lock him up again.
And what'll become of us?
We'll worry about that later.
Jerry, he stopped playing.
Yeah.
You think he heard Vincent coming down? Jerry, Greg caught him. What'll we do?
Come on, we're going down.
Lights are all out down here.
I don't hear anything.
Where do you think Greg is?
Maybe waiting to jump us in the dark. Come on, I don't care. Stick behind me. We're going in the living room. Where's Butch?
I don't know. What is it?
My foot touched on a body. Then I'm going to take a chance on the flashlight. Stand back.
All right.
Great Scott.
What is it?
Look.
What is it? That isn't Vincent. It's Greg. He's been stabbed.
Watch out. Vincent is somewhere around. He'll kill you.
What do you mean?
My brother Vincent, the one who's been doing the wrecking. We always keep him locked up. But tonight, he got away. Planted the detour sign. Cut the tree.
Vincent did all right.
Matt and I, we tried to stop him. Matt went out to the road, took down the detour sign. But it was too late. Watch out. He'll be back. He'll kill you.
He's dead.
Jerry. Poor Greg. And we thought it... Oh, the lights.
Thank you for waiting for me.
Vincent.
Where'd you get that rifle?
From Matt. He won't need it anymore.
What are you going to do?
What do you think?
You're crazy.
Well, aren't we all? Now, my good friends, if you'll just say a prayer. Any little prayer will do.
Point that gun at my sister.
It won't do you any good to stand in front of her. This rifle is a 30-30. Now, if you're ready...
Jerry, he's mad.
Look out!
Wait! Attaboy, Butch! Come on! Let go of the gun! The gun went off in his face.
Oh, Jerry.
Take it easy, kid. He's dead. Don't look at him. He isn't pretty to look at. What you did all right. Well, kid, you can write your feature story now. The story of the wreckers of Hurricane Cove. And it'll be under your own byline, too.
Oh, I'm going to write it under a double byline, Jerry. The Wreckers of Hurricane Cove by Linda Watson and Butch.
Well, Butch, how does it feel to have a byline? You like it. You like collaborating, don't you? Especially with a pretty girl like Linda, huh? Which just goes to prove that there's a little bit of wolf in the best of dogs.
But do you know the difference between a wolf call and a wolf whistle, Mr. Host?
Okay. Now, when a fella gives a wolf whistle, he's starved for love. Good night. Pleasant dreams. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. Soups present Inner Sanctum Mysteries. Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum. When you heard the sound of the squeaking door, it was exactly 30 seconds past the hour for murder. But don't worry. We won't keep you waiting much longer. Even as I talk to you now, our hero and his victim are standing beside me, wishing I'd dispense with formalities so they can get to more enjoyable pursuits, like murder.
Now, isn't it funny, Mr. Host? I feel the same way in hot weather.
You mean the heat makes you feel murderous? Now, this doesn't sound like our Mary.
Oh, please don't misunderstand me, Mr. Host. I mean the heat makes me want to dispense with formalities so I can get to more enjoyable pursuits, like serving myself and my friends tall, cooling glasses of iced Lipton tea in my backyard under the trees. What grand iced tea Lipton's makes. So gloriously full-bodied, so full of zip. And it's that brisk Lipton flavor that does it. A flavor that's never flat, but always spirited and satisfying. You see, brisk is the word the tea experts themselves use to describe the livelier freshness of Lipton's. And those same tea experts agree that in iced teas, brisk flavor is extra important. That's why, for the best iced tea you ever tasted, you should always insist on Lipton tea. It's good iced because it's brisk in flavor. So keep a frosty pitcher of iced Lipton tea always on hand.
Thank you for those cooling thoughts, Mary. Now into our sizzling thriller, 8 Steps to Murder. Written especially for Inner Sanctum by Emil Teppelman. This is the chronicle of a carefully calculated crime. A crime so twisted and subtle that it had to be blueprinted in advance. As Barry Kroger, in the role of Mark Durfee, the newspaper columnist, tells his story, we shall watch this crime develop, step by step. 8 Steps to Murder.
When I decided to kill Basil Archer, I went about it like an architect, laying out the plans for a complicated building project. Only a fool leaves the details of such an undertaking to chance. I calculated every risk. I weighed every possibility of failure. I blueprinted each of the 8 necessary steps I had to take. My first step was to get a suitable weapon. I went on Monday morning to the office of a pawnbroker I knew on 48th Street.
Good morning, my friend. How are you, Mr. Krug? Come in, Mr. Duffy.
Thank you. You know what I want?
Indeed, yes. I have it here, exactly what you need. It's fully loaded. You can spin the barrel and see for yourself.
Nice revolver. Looks a little awkward.
You said you wanted it with a silencer attached.
Yes. How much for this, Mr. Krug?
$250.
What?
That is the price, Mr. Duffy. You know, it's against the law to sell these.
Well, yes, but $250.
You will pay it, Mr. Duffy.
Wow. All right. You know what I want this gun for.
But naturally.
You know I'm planning to kill someone with it.
But naturally. Otherwise, would you want a silencer on it?
You wouldn't be above a little honest blackmail, would you, Mr. Krug?
Please, do not point that gun at me. It is loaded.
I know that.
What are you going to do?
I regret this, Mr. Krug. I'm going to have to kill you.
No, I swear to you.
Save it.
You'll be sorry for this. You'll make a mistake. You'll make a slip.
There'll be no mistake.
There will. You cannot think of everything.
I have thought of everything. This is the first thing.
Oh! You cannot think of everything.
I left Krug's body where it lay and put the silenced revolver in my inside pocket and stepped out into the alley. I stock still. The rain suddenly coming down in buckets. I hadn't counted on it starting to rain. My alibi for crude spilling was carefully planned. Everybody at my hotel thought I was still in my room.
A drinking spree last night.
But if my clothes were wet, they'd know I'd been out this morning.
You cannot think of everything. You cannot think of everything.
I hurried back to my hotel, walking in the rain. It was too dangerous to take a cab. I sneaked in the service entrance, the way I'd come out, and walked up the one flight of stairs. As soon as I got in my room, I took off my clothes, dropped them all in the bathtub, and started the shower going. And then I went to bed. About noontime, when the phone rang, I knew it was the clerk downstairs calling, because I'd left a call for 12. I let the phone ring. That was step number 2. A few minutes later, just as I expected, Ryan, the house detective, let himself into the room with his pass key. I pretended to be asleep, dead to the world.
All those cockeyed shenanigans. Boy, what a load he must have taken on last night.
I heard Ryan go into the bathroom where the shower was still running, and then come out muttering and approach the bed.
Wake up, Mr. Duffy.
What? Oh, my head.
Oh, you must have been as high as a kite last night.
Oh.
You undressed in the shower. Left all your clothes in the bathtub. They're soaking wet.
I was safe. My tracks were completely covered. This was Monday afternoon. According to my schedule, Basil Archer was to die on Friday evening at 10 o'clock sharp. I was now free to take step 3 in my blueprint for murder. For this purpose, I went to Basil Archer's office. He was a theatrical producer, you see. His office was upstairs over the famous old Fantasy Theater, where Archer's new play was to open on Friday evening. As I opened the door of Basil Archer's office, I was quite cool. I'd rehearsed myself well. Basil was seated at his desk talking to Gregory Sutherland, the young and handsome author of the new play.
Hello there, Mark. Glad to see you.
Hi, Basil. Just dropped in to get a line on the new play.
You know Greg Sutherland, the author?
Sure.
Greg, this is Mark Durfee.
We've met.
I tell you, Mark, Storm Over the Highlands is going to be the biggest hit of the season. Greg's written a fine play.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Basil. Ought to go over big, especially with your wife doing the lead. Nina's a great actress.
Confidentially, that's one of the reasons why I'm doing Storm Over the Highlands. Just suited for Nina.
Nina will be wonderful. Oh, I guess she likes working with you, Mr. Sutherland. It's always a good idea for the author and the star of a play to work together.
Oh? Have you and Nina been working together, Greg?
Well, yes, Mr. Archer. We sort of thought if we could exchange ideas. I never saw two people put their heart and soul into a job like Nina and Sutherland here. They spend every minute they can together.
Now, look here, Durfee. I don't like the way you said that.
Oh? I'm sorry, Sutherland. You know I didn't mean anything. It's only what people are saying, seeing you both together so much.
What's this all about, Mark? This is the first I've heard of anything.
Oh, forget it, Basil. Oh, by the way, here's a package. I want to give it to Nina on opening night. I wonder if you put it in your safe for me till Friday.
Sure, if you want me to. I'll put it here, on the bottom shelf, next to the payroll money. Come in Friday evening during the first intermission, and I'll get it out for you.
Fine.
Are those all packages of money on the bottom shelf? Yes. Over 100,000 in there. Receipts from my other shows. Here you are, Mark. All safely locked up. What kind of a present is it?
I'd rather keep that a secret till Friday. From Archer's office, I went straight to his apartment. I knew Nina would be home, and it was important that I talk to her now.
Hello, Mark. I've been wondering if you'd come today.
Well, I told you I would, Nina.
I've waited so long.
Darling.
Oh, Mark, how long will it be now? How much longer?
Only till Friday, darling. After Friday, you'll be free of him forever.
And then you and I.
But there's work to do first. This is only the 4th step. There are 4 more to go. Everything's working according to schedule. The next step is up to you.
What must I do, Mark?
Oh, I started the ball rolling. Basil's beginning to worry about you and Sutherland. You've got to be encouraged to suspect as much as possible. You've got to be seen around with Sutherland as frequently as you can.
Oh, that'll be easy. Sutherland's hardly more than a kid. He worships the ground I walk on. But I'd rather be with you, darling.
There's 5 days more, Nina. And then we can be together. Always. Outside Nina's house, I stopped for a moment with a queer sensation in the pit of my stomach. It was raining again. It reminded me of Mr. Krug.
You can't think of everything. You can't think of everything.
I seemed to hear Krug's voice drumming in my ears.
You'll make a mistake, Mark Durfee. You'll make a mistake.
I won't, Wolf. I won't.
You'll make a mistake.
Oh, poor Krug. You know, a pawnbroker's life is not an easy one, and Krug took such an interest in his business. And he never suspected Mark Durfee. In fact, he probably liked him for his redeeming qualities. Though, come to think of it, Krug was pretty lucky at that. Mark didn't steal anything from the store but the gun, so Krug lost practically nothing but his life.
You know, Mark's story gives me an idea. I'd like to draw up a blueprint myself.
Yes, Mary, another blueprint for murder.
Oh, now, Mr. Host. I'd call mine a blueprint for summer refreshment. And I'd like to do it in sound. First, I'd start with the creak of porch rockers on shaded summer streets, and the murmur of backyard gardeners and the lilac dust. And with the teamsters home from school, there'd have to be some sweet swing music, of course. And just to make my blueprint of summer sounds complete, you'd hear the tinkle of ice in tall, cool glasses. Glasses of refreshing iced Lipton tea. Yes, iced Lipton tea just goes with summertime fun and enjoyment. Lipton's has such a wide-awake flavor. The whole family will love it. And that flavor, folks, is brisk. Yes, that's the secret. Lipton's brisk flavor is what makes iced Lipton tea taste extra good. So for a delightful treat to beat the heat, serve iced tea. And for the best iced tea ever, insist on Lipton tea. Brisk flavor, never flat.
Couldn't have done better myself, Mary. But now, let's catch up with our architect of murder. If Mark Durfee's blueprint works out according to schedule, our death rate should go up sharply to about 1 per person. Let's see. He should be up to his 5th step by now, shouldn't he?
Tuesday was a clear day without rain, and I felt better. I knew now that I couldn't make a mistake. In 4 days, Basil Archer would die as planned.
And now for the 5th step. An easy one for Mark Durfee because he's a newspaper columnist. It merely requires dictating a little item for his column into the dictaphone at his desk.
Oh, there's a new play opening soon, which should be a huge success. If the author and the leading lady can do anything to make it click. They're working harder on it than the producer himself. It looks like they've clicked with each other, too.
And now, the 6th step. 8 steps to murder, and this is number 6. Just a couple of telephone calls to set the 6th step in motion.
Hello?
Hello, Nina. Did you see the paper this morning?
Mark, darling, it was perfect. I've had a half-dozen phone calls. Everybody knows you met Sutherland and me.
Oh, good.
Basil saw it, too, at breakfast this morning.
It did? How did he like it?
Oh, he just looked glum. I don't think he believes it.
Well, all right. Now, here's what I want you to do. Get hold of Sutherland and make him take you out tonight.
Uh-huh.
There's a fast little nightclub out on the island, the Pirate's Hold.
I know the place. Kind of disreputable, isn't it?
Yeah, right. Well, now, look, you get Sutherland to take you there. You think you can manage that?
Oh, he'll take me anywhere I want to go.
Good. Be sure to be there tonight about 10. I'll take care of the rest.
Basil Archer speaking.
Oh, hello, Basil. How are you?
Mark Durfee. Now, look here,
Now,
Mark.
look, wait. Take it easy, Basil. I know you want to ball me out about that piece in the column.
I thought you were a friend of mine.
Oh, look, Basil, that's why I printed that piece. I don't like what's going on.
Just what do you mean? If Nina feels like working with the author of the play, she
Sure, that's all right. But look, why keep things secret?
What do you mean by that?
Well, you ask Sutherland if he has any plans for tonight.
I know what plans he has for tonight. He's going to stay home and work on some lines in the last scene.
Is that so?
What are you hinting at, Mark?
I'm hinting that you take a run out to the Pirates' Hold. You know where it is? Out on the island? And you'll see how hard Sutherland will be working on the last scene. Hello?
Mark, this is Nina.
Oh, where are you?
I'm calling from the Pirates' Hold. Basil was just here.
Oh, good. Did he find you with Sutherland?
Well, naturally, I did just what you told me to.
Fine. And everything is set for tomorrow.
You're sure everything will be all right?
Oh, yes, quite sure. Now, this is what I want you to do tomorrow. Just before the show opens, you'll take sick.
Oh.
Basil will have to put in an understudy for you.
Yes, I can do that all right.
Then you'll dismiss the servant.
Yes.
Now, remember this clearly, Nina. You're going to be my alibi for the hour between 9 and 10. Understand?
I understand, Mark.
I'll be over at 9. But I'll leave a few minutes later by the back way. Only you'll swear that I stayed till a few minutes after 10. Is that clear?
Yes, Mark. And good luck.
When I rang the doorbell of Nina's apartment Friday night, I knew that every step I'd taken thus far had been right. I couldn't fail.
Mark, I was afraid you weren't coming. I was afraid something had gone wrong.
Oh, no. Nothing's gone wrong. You sent the servants away?
Yes, they're all gone. I'm alone. I can swear you were here till after 10.
Good.
How are you going to kill him?
With this.
A gun. What's that bulky-looking thing on it on the muzzle?
That's a silencer, Nina.
Oh. Well, you'd better hurry, darling. You haven't much time.
There's one thing more that I've got to do here before I go.
Why are you pointing the gun at me?
Because I'm going to kill you, Nina, dear.
Oh, now, Mark, I don't like that kind of joke.
It isn't a joke, my darling.
Mark, are you crazy?
You little fool. Did you think I'd go to all this trouble, planning this thing step by step? Did you think I was doing all of this for you?
But I thought you loved me.
You thought I was committing murder because I loved you? Oh, Lena, you're just another step in my blueprint. Now you've served your purpose, just like Krug. Krug was step 1. You're step 7.
Mark!
I made sure Nina was dead, and then I hurried out and went to Basil Archer's office. I had to be sure my timing was right. This was the 8th and the final step. I knew Basil would be in his office during the first intermission, so... Hello, Basil.
Oh, it's you, Mark. Come in. I want to talk to you.
What about, Basil?
Mark, what's going on between Sutherland and Nina?
Oh, now, Basil, you're not a fool.
I can't believe it.
Well, look, if you want proof, suppose you get that package out of the safe, the one I left with you.
The package? What's that got?
Well, you get it, and I'll show you.
All right. Well, here's your package. Now, what do you want to show me?
Still got all that cash in the safe, huh?
You know, I always have it here.
Yes, I know.
Say, what are you doing with that revolver?
Look, Basil. Look into the muzzle.
What the...
That's just right.
Oh!
I opened the package Basil had given me. It was only an empty box, nothing in it, but there was something here I could put into it now. I stepped across Basil's body, knelt before the open safe, and took out the neatly tied bundles of money and put them into the empty box. $100,000.
It was well worth the months of planning, the careful blueprinting. I was a rich man. Now I was ready for the finale, the last bit of routine business, which would finish the whole thing off properly. I picked up the phone and dialed police headquarters. It wouldn't be too difficult to imitate Basil Archer's voice over the telephone. I'd rehearsed that, too.
Yes, headquarters.
Hello. This is Basil Archer speaking. I've just killed my wife.
What's that?
My wife and Sutherland, they were planning to run away together. They stole all the money from my safe. We're going away. So I killed her. But now I'm going to kill myself, too.
Now, wait, Mr. Archer. Now, wait a minute. Don't do anything
I
rash.
softly repeated.
Just stay there till we send the radio.
Now, everything was set. Carefully, I placed the revolver in Basil's cold hand. I'd left no prints on it because I was wearing gloves. I picked up the package and walked out into the hall. But in the hall, I stopped short. Someone had just come into the building downstairs. I peered down and I saw Gregory Sutherland coming up.
Mr. Archer, are you up there? You better hurry. The second act is starting.
Sutherland was coming up the stairs. I couldn't get out, but I wasn't trapped. Oh, no. There was a porter's closet down the hall. I tiptoed over to it and slipped inside just as Sutherland got to the landing.
Mr. Archer, are you in there?
Sutherland was in Basil's office now. He'd be finding the body. This was my chance to sneak out. I opened the closet door.
Come on, Kitty. Archer's house is one place up. Maybe we can make it in time. The guy said he was going to kill himself.
The police had come in answer to my telephone call. Now I couldn't get out. There'd be a crowd outside and I'd be seen leaving. I had to stay in the building. But still, I wasn't trapped. I knew just what to do. Instead of leaving the building, I would walk out of the closet and into Basil's office right after the police. They'd think I'd just arrived. I stepped out of the porter's closet. I started for the door of Basil's office. Then, suddenly, I got a sick, weak feeling in the pit of my stomach. I stopped stock still. I'd almost walked into my death. It was raining outside. Suppose I walked in there with my clothes all dry, claiming that I'd just come in from the street. They'd know that I'd been hiding in the building all the time. The rain, that rain, it almost tricked me again.
You can't think of everything. You'll make a mistake. You can't think
I can, you old fool. I'll show you. I hurried back into the porter's closet. I knew how to beat this, too. I turned on the faucet in the sink, splashed and drenched myself from head to foot. Now, I looked as if I'd just come in out of the rain. I stepped out of the closet, went down the hall, and entered Basil Archer's office, dripping wet. The two policemen were standing over Basil's body with Gregory Sutherland. They all looked up as I came in.
Oh, hello, Mr. Durkee. Sorry about this. It's your friend, Basil Archer. Committed suicide.
Oh, no. Oh, it's impossible, Sergeant Moran. Basil wouldn't do a thing like that. Why, who found him?
I did, Mr. Durfee. I came to call him for the second act.
Oh, this is terrible.
It's like an open and shut case. Killed his wife, then came here and knocked himself off.
Oh.
And what's more, Mr. Sutherland?
Yes?
Before he knocked himself off, he phoned headquarters and said you'd stolen money from his safe.
Well, that's a lie. Wait a minute. Sergeant. Mr. Durfee.
Yes, Sutherland.
How did you get yourself all wet like that?
Oh, you try not getting wet in that rain.
Rain? What rain, Mr. Durfee?
Suddenly I went clammy all over. I saw that none of them was wet. Their clothes were all dry. But how could that be? They'd just come in out of the rain.
What rain, Mr. Durfee?
Well, you can hear it, can't you? It's pouring rain. Just listen to that thunder.
Thunder? Rain? Good heavens, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard. Don't you see, Sergeant, he's been in the building all the time. Trying to make us think he just came in and he got himself all wet for nothing.
Sergeant, I bet you $1 he murdered Archer.
You're crazy. Well, it's pouring outside. You can hear it yourself. But just listen to that rain beating down. The thunder.
You poor sap. That isn't rain you hear. It's my play next door. Storm over the Highlands. Remember? And those are the sound effects in the second act.
It looks like Mark Durfee was all wet. In fact, he got himself so soaking wet, he practically liquidated himself. But cheer up, I'm sure he won't spend more than 6 months in jail. And that wouldn't be so bad, would it? If they weren't going to execute him afterwards.
Poor Mark. If only someone had told him.
Told him what, Mary?
Well, look, Mark took 8 steps to get in the cooler when you really only have to take 1 step to get cool. Sure, just step down to the grocer's and get a large economical package of brisk Lipton tea. Then keep a pitcher of iced Lipton tea always on hand and help yourself to its cooling refreshment off and on throughout the day. That's all there is to it. And you'll find Lipton's makes perfect iced tea because Lipton's is never flat. It always tastes delightfully tangy and full-bodied. That's why this summer, when you want iced tea, you should be sure to use the tea with the brisk flavor. Ask your grocer tomorrow for Lipton's.
And so ends our little essay on the modern methods of murder. Of course, our little essays on murder are only for the select few. As a matter of fact, only 1 person in every 10,000 is capable of murder. And speaking of statistics, due to our high birth rate, the population of this country is increasing faster than inner sanctum can kill 'em. Very discouraging. Very discouraging indeed. Oh, by the way, this month's Inner Sanctum mystery novel is The Panic Stricken by Mitchell Wilson. And next week, the makers of Lipton Tea and Lipton Soups will bring you another Inner Sanctum story directed by Hyman Brown and called Bury Me Not. Now, there's a plot for you. A plot right in the graveyard. Trouble is, the rains come and uncover it. What becomes of the body? Well, now, that's anybody's guess. But come around next week. We'll be right at the graveside, and we'd like to have you drop in. Until then, good night. Pleasant dreams.
Now that summer's here, keep cool by keeping out of the kitchen. Serve Lipton's Noodle Soup. It's quick and easy to prepare and gives you a delicious soup in a jiffy with so much less work and trouble. It's the perfect hot dish to serve with cool summertime suppers because Lipton's is luscious noodle soup with real old-time chickeny flavor. Besides, Lipton's Noodle Soup mix costs less and makes lots more than the usual canned soup. Ask for it tomorrow. Lipton's Noodle Soup. And tune in next week for another Inner Sanctum mystery.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Inner Sanctum.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum. This is your host inviting you in through the squeaking door. I just left a friend of mine. He runs an all-night billiard academy near the cemetery. As after midnight, he uncovers the ghoul tables. But no rough stuff in his place. No, he settles all arguments by arbitration. Simply lifts the shroud and points out they haven't a leg to stand on. Believes the old motto that a fiend in need is a fiend indeed. off the edge of your chair, because that's where you'll be sitting for the rest of this half hour, and listen to Murder Comes at Midnight. This is the story of how one average family, even as yours and mine, spent a quiet night at their rented country house. A night of terror. As I said, the Cannings were just an average family. Harry was 29 and worked as a sound engineer for a broadcasting studio in the city. Ethel was 27 and had been a school teacher before she was married. Now she was kept pretty busy between writing the great American novel and taking care of Judy, her 7-year-old daughter. This was the first year they had rented a house in the country for the summer, and Ethel didn't take much to the idea of being alone either.
At first, I didn't know what it was that woke me. Perhaps it was because I was expecting Harry. He phoned that he was working overtime. He wouldn't be home till after midnight. I didn't like the idea of his driving 60 miles from this city at that hour. Or maybe it was just because I wasn't used to being alone with Judy in the old house. I got out of bed. I opened the connecting door to Judy's room. She was sleeping quietly. I closed the door softly, went across to my window. Something had awakened me. What? Was it a sound I heard in my sleep? Or was it a premonition? I looked out the window. The night was dark with 1,000 secrets. Harry should have been home by this time. My watch showed a few minutes after 12. Maybe he'd had an accident. Maybe that's why I awakened. Some sort of telepathy. And then I saw the headlights. It was Harry. He was turning in our road. The headlights phased me for a moment as he swung into our driveway. Everything was all right then. I'll be right down, Harry. Breathlessly, I raced downstairs to let him in. I was so happy I could cry. It was only then I realized what tension I'd been under, all because of my silly fears. I unlocked the door quickly. Oh, Harry, I was so worried.
Sorry to bother you so late, miss. Had an accident with my car.
Oh, I thought you were my husband.
Oh, sorry to disappoint you.
Oh, no, I'm afraid you can't come in. My husband isn't home yet.
Well, it won't be for long.
Oh, my heavens, you're hurt. It's your arm.
Hurt in the accident. I'm afraid it's broken.
Oh, you poor man. Here, sit down. Sit down right here.
Well, that's better.
Here. Your arm's so limp. Do you really think it's broken?
I can't tell. It's kind of numb.
Oh, dear, I feel so helpless. I don't know what to do. I took a first aid course during the war, but I don't remember a thing. Maybe I better call Dr. Schultz.
Please, don't go to the trouble.
There's no trouble. The phone's right here.
I said no doctor.
But it's all right.
Put down that phone, please.
I don't understand.
Maybe you understand this.
A gun?
Put the phone down.
Who are you?
I'll ask the questions from now on. Your name's Canning, isn't it?
How did you know?
Name's on the door, isn't it?
Oh.
What kind of phone is that?
What do you mean?
Party line?
No, it's a private wire.
Can you dial, or do you have to ask the operator for the number?
No, you just dial.
Good. Push the phone over here to this side of the table.
Who were you going to call?
The phone, please.
You better get out of here before my husband comes home.
Oh, how do you think he'd make out in an argument with this?
Oh.
The phone. Thank you. Now step back a little. Good. I have to put this gun down while I make my call. It's arm of mine. But you understand that I can pick it up faster than you could reach it from there, don't you?
Yes, I understand.
I see. We'll get along all right. Oh, operator, get me Plaza 99970. Yeah, hurry, please. Oh, this is 864.
Please. After your phone call, you get out. Before my husband comes home. He's late already.
You wouldn't turn an injured man out of your house in the middle of the night. Oh, hello, Linda? That's right. I had a little trouble. I hurt my arm. Look, I think you'd better come up here. Yeah, and bring Fred and Doc Stetson along. Oh, no. Everything's fine. Won't be any trouble. I'm a guest to some very good friends up here. Canning's the name. Well, you drive up Highway 26 through Accord and turn right when you pass the first gas station. Just a mile from there. You ought to be here by 6 in the morning. There'll be a light in the downstairs window. Right, Linda. See you in the morning.
You can't stay here all night. You've got to
Shut
go.
up. What's that over there? Radio?
Yes.
It's pretty big.
It's the sending and receiving set. Harry built it himself. He's a radio engineer.
Hmm. Can you get shortwave? Police calls?
Yes?
Turn it on.
But I don't...
Turn it on.
No.
Well, getting brave, huh?
I don't think you'd dare to shoot me. It would be murder. They'd send you to the chair. Now, you get out of here. You call your friends and tell them to meet you someplace else. Now, there, I've opened the door. Now, get out.
Worried about your husband, aren't you? Afraid of what'll happen to him if he comes home now, huh?
I want you to go away. And if you don't go now, I'll run out and scream for help. There are other houses in this neighborhood, and somebody will hear me.
Oh, go ahead and run.